Welcome to the live. Welcome to the live. For those of you that don't know, my name is Brother Legend. Just because you angry don't mean this is rage bait. Just because you angry don't mean that was my intention. Welcome to the live. My name is Brother Legend. I'm here to raise your consciousness, and that is all. Then who's raging right now? Composed. You supposed to be composed. You calling it rage bait? Who's rage? Who's enraged? It ain't me. What's going on? My intention is to get y'all to think critically. My name is Brother Legend, and as always, I am here to raise your consciousness. Welcome to the critical thinking exercise, a discussion, an interview. I don't answer questions. I'm only here to ask them. I'm only here to ask you questions to make you think. That's it. Anyone that wants to come up and have a conversation can come on up. Just be prepared to have some questions asked and to answer some questions. Be prepared. I'll let people talk when we get to 2K likes. In the meantime, I'll be answering anyone with some sense in the comments. Anyone that actually wants to engage in the discussion instead of trying to throw stones at the messenger and trying to find reasons to disrupt the conversation. The word ethical means relating to, avoiding harm done to people or an environment. It's a quick Google search, what ethical means. Anything relating to not doing harm or avoiding harm to people or an environment. So, that being the case, I see nothing wrong with answering questions. If you want to come up and answer some, I got them for you. I do not answer questions, I only ask. I'm not here to answer questions. I'm only here to ask. If you want to come up and share what you think, then feel free. If you want to tell us your stance, then come on up. I will give you the floor. I won't interrupt. And we can just hear you out. That's what we're here to do. Thank y'all for getting us over 2K likes. I want to bring some people up. We're going to have a discussion. Let's see who was in here the longest.
Hi.
Hi, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Oh, what did you say? I'm so sorry. I cut out for a second.
Your age, your race, and your pronouns.
So I'm mixed race and I'm 23 and I'm not too sure on.
If you don't know your race, don't come up here. If you're mixed and confused, please don't come up here. You got to know your race to talk about race. You got to know quantum physics to talk about quantum physics. If you're mixed and confused, don't come on up. If you're mixed, shaken, or stirred, do not come up here, please. We ain't even about to confuse ourselves trying to understand from what perspective you coming from. All right, we're going to go to the next guest. Dom, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
I'm 19 years old. I'm black. I go by any pronouns.
All right, talk to us.
All right, so I'll give y'all my take. So, in general, I feel like interracial marriages or interracial relationships, they can be harmful, they cannot be harmful. They are harmful whenever you allow this interracial relationship to compromise your own politics. Now, as we see throughout history, we got individuals such as Kwame Nkrumah, Frantz Fanon, who were in interracial marriages. Frantz Fanon was he was married to a white woman. Kwame Nkrumah was married to an Arab, an Egyptian woman, right? However, as we see, they did not let the race of the women that they're dealing with get in the way of their own revolutionary politics. Kwame Nkrumah fought for independence for Ghana and instituted a revolutionary government and was building up that country up until
I didn't mute him. Who muted him? Did somebody mute him?
my apologies. My internet was tweaking out. I live in Florida.
Okay.
What was the last thing you heard, brother?
You said Kwame Nkrumah married the Arab woman, and yeah, then you cut out.
My apologies. I said, as we know, Kwame Nkrumah, he was married to an Arab woman. However, that did not get in the way of his ability to build up a revolutionary government in Ghana and do right by his people up until he was ousted by the CIA. Same thing with Frantz Fanon. He was married to a white French woman. However, he did not allow that to get in the way of his role that he played within the Algerian Revolution, fighting for the rights of the Algerian people. Now, as we see what the problem is that many Black folks get into interracial relationships because they already have just such a deeply negative view of their own people and their own culture. Right? A lot of these people, they do not have self-confidence in themselves as Black people, as Africans. They look for something outside of Africa in order to find a way to build up their own self-wealth, because they do not believe being within Black culture, being within Africa is the way to do it. And that is really what the main problem is.
Okay, so how do you think Kwame Nkrumah's relationship with the Arab Egyptian woman impacted African people as a whole? Like, how do you think it impacted him and his ability to unite Africa at the time when they had been so tribalized and didn't see themselves as one people? How did it impact, what he was doing?
I mean, from what I've read, he doesn't really, in any of his books, like Conscientism or Neocolonialism or any of the writings that he's had or any positions from the AAPRP, his marriage isn't really anything that's brought up extensively. But if I were to guess, I would assume that it would strengthen his Pan-African attitude, because Egypt is still in Africa, right? And Kwame Nkrumah, Stokely Carmichael, Sekou Touré, they all had a continentalist view of it. So they did not just exclusively want to liberate just Black Africans. They felt like the North was also a part of that. They always say in the AAPRP, the party that they founded, from Cape Town to Cairo shall be liberated. So I feel like the only real possible effect would be to strengthen his own Pan-African attitude.
Kwame Nkrumah, the man that coined the term Black Power, you're saying, was not specifically focused on liberating Black people?
I think you got Kwame Nkrumah and Kwame Touré mixed up.
I'm sorry, Kwame Touré, my bad. Stokely Carmichael.
Yes, formerly known as Stokely Carmichael.
Yeah. So you're saying that he was not focused solely on liberating Black people, but also liberating people that had colonized Black people? What do you think their idea of liberation was?
One Pan-African socialist government united. That's what they always have exclusively advocated for. One Pan-African socialist state. And
did Stokely Carmichael have a critique for the Arabs that had taken control of North Africa?
He may have
Who were they talking about liberating Egypt from?
from the British at the time, neocolonialism.
Hmm. But what else did Kwame say about the Western slave trade? I mean, the Eastern slave trade.
Mm, to my knowledge, I haven't seen any of them necessarily write about it or talk about it. From my own personal knowledge, maybe Sekou Touré, possibly, but I would have to look into that more deeply.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm sure they're knowledgeable
You're
about it,
saying
but
so?
I
You're
don't know.
saying Kwame Ture had continental consciousness but no race consciousness?
No, he most certainly had race consciousness, but I'm saying, as you see, a lot of people within this conscious movement, you know, their attitude towards North Africa is fairly negative. However, Kwame Ture, he said it is very important for us to liberate those parts of Africa as well. That was his
But what
argument.
do you think his idea of liberation was? That's where I think you're getting confused. Is when he talks about liberating Africa, he means making it a safe place, a just place for all African people. So any place that is going to be just for African people, specifically Black African people, is going to mean that all non-Black African, if they want to call themselves African, usually they call themselves Arab. People are going to have to play along. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I kind of get what you're saying, but he wasn't talking about liberating them, in a sense of, saying that we need to somehow find a way to compromise. He's saying that even their anti-blackness is going to get them removed from our idea of African liberation if they get in the way. They would have to be on code with us.
Most definitely, right?
And we understand that a lot of what the people call the North African continent phenotype, the lighter skinned, pointier nosed Africans have been there for a long time. And that is a phenotype that existed on the continent before it went to other places in the world, not the other way around.
Yes.
Like all phenotypes came from Africa first. And a lot of people think that because they have a less, quote unquote, and I hate this word, but I'm going to use it, quote unquote, sub Saharan look, because they don't have that sub Saharan look, that they're somehow less African. And that's just not true because their look came uh, from Africa and went out, not the other way around. But we also know that there was a lot of migration and colonization and, an entire slave trade built up that ravished Africa. Sometimes if we look past Kwame Ture and look at our historian, John Henry Clark, he speaks very blatantly about how that side of Africa was taken control of, and that we also have to liberate ourselves from not just the East but also the West. And that's a quote from Kwame. That's a quote from Kwame Nkrumah himself, who said
Yes.
Africa shouldn't look to the East or the West, but to look forward. But at the end of the day, I don't see how Kwame Nkrumah relationship was of any benefit to his movement or anything that he did. I think him being able to mitigate the harm that that relationship could cause in the immediate time that he was alive is commendable, But at the same time, why even play with fire? We understand that Kwame Nkrumah grew up in the same maybe a different uh, level of anti-black or a different type of taste or flavor of anti-blackness, because we all experience it differently. But he grew up in a world where, he was taught the same self-hate that we were all taught. So
Yes.
was his relationship one of, self-hatred? I gotta say, yeah, because if you love yourself, you're gonna love someone that's a reflection of you, But when it came to government and politics, there's even a video of him dancing with Queen Elizabeth. That not a video, a picture of him dancing with Queen Elizabeth. It was kind of weird, But Kwame, he was more of a political figure, and he did his thing, but When we're talking about ethics, I don't want to dilute the conversation down to the Pan Africans that found a way to be with someone that was white and say that that somehow makes it ethical. That's like saying if I smoke a cigarette right now, if I survive by the end of the cigarette, that I somehow did something healthy. When we're talking about ethical, we're talking about something that avoids harm. We're talking about interracial marriages. We're not talking about one interracial marriage that, in the meantime, in that immediate, as instant as I smoke a cigarette, there's no harm done. It looks like no harm is done. I'm still breathing. I'm still alive. Everything is good. No, I did not avoid harm. What I did still can cause harm over a lengthy period of time. What Kwame and Nkrumah did could cause harm over generations. If every black man did what Kwame Nkrumah did, then Africa would be no better off. We know that for certain. And I want to say we know for certain that it would be worse off, but I don't want to speculate. I'll try to remain somewhat objective. But I mean, loving your oppressor during your oppression, how revolutionary are you? We're talking about interracial marriages, specifically between black and white people. What Nkrumah did, I look at it as his own internalized self-hatred that he was able to keep in his house. But should we all follow suit because he did it? I don't think that makes sense.
So what
And
do
it
you say
and
about?
if everybody that gets in an interracial relationship does the level of Pan Africanism, if they do what Kwame Nkrumah did, then maybe we can talk about it. Then maybe we can talk. If every black man does what Kwame Nkrumah did, and then they get a bunny, then we can maybe we can sit down and have a discussion.
No doubt. So what do you have to say about France or not?
Frantz Fanon, I'm not the biggest fan. He's got some problematic issues. I don't want to come up here and critique black people on a question that's going to inherently bring mixed company. I'm not going to fuel ammunition to my enemy. This is a deeper conversation than what one would normally have on TikTok. If you want to have this conversation in our Discord, you can. We have meetings every Sunday where it's just us. You know what I'm saying? But on this live, we're talking about the idea of interracial marriages, not individuals. So
Okay,
interracial marriage is something that was created. Race was created. Interracial marriage was created. Who was it created by? And can it happen ethically during black oppression? That's the question. Would I say what Kwame Nkrumah did was ethical? No. But would I call him the aggressor? Also no. I know that he grew up in the same environment of anti-blackness that made him look to someone with the phenotype of his oppressor as somebody that would have his best interests. And I can't speak to that woman, and them as individuals, but I know that I can look to how interracial marriages are harmful to black people in general and just speak on that.
all right, I get what you mean. In general, like, yeah, I said vast majority of the time it ain't ended well. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't even give it the wiggle room because the thing is, like we're talking about when did if what makes any relationship unethical? What makes what R. Kelly did unethical? You know what I'm saying? The power dynamic. The power dynamic. As long as that power dynamic is there, it is unethical for a teacher to date a student. It's unethical for a boss to date his secretary or his intern. Bill Clinton. It's unethical for a prison guard to be in a relationship with a prisoner. It's illegal too. That's how unethical it is. So we understand that the power dynamic makes relationships unethical. We understand that there's a power dynamic of injustice in the black community, but for some reason, our oppressor will come up here, and I'm sure they are in here right now, and I got some probably waiting in the request to come up here and tell us about how ethical it is, despite the fact that black people are still being persecuted to this day. They're going to come up here and talk about how it can be ethical to choose you a black person that you can love instead of talking about how they can fix the issues that they have pervaded and perpetuated into our communities. And then we could talk about if it's ethical or not. If black people were no longer oppressed, we wouldn't be having the conversation of ethics.
No doubt. And that is 100% correct. If you were a white woman, you get into an argument, she called the cops on you, you're done. You're
Right.
covered.
Mm-hmm. That's why Jonathan Major is turning the Usain Bolt.
Yo.
Mm-hmm. And he had all them big muscles. All them big muscles couldn't save him. He was scared for his life. And that's what I'm trying to say is we're in the midst of our oppression, and a lot of us have seen how in the 10 areas of people activity, economics, entertainment, education, labor law, politics, religion, sex, war, and health, how white supremacy has influenced all 10 areas of people activity. Well, we'll say 9. People will admit economics, education, entertainment. Oh, yeah, there's racism there. Yeah, there's a power dynamic. Yeah, white supremacy is dominant there. Politics, labor, law, religion. Yup. Yup. The white man. Yup. White supremacy all up in that. And then health. Yeah. They put stuff in the food. But when we talk about love and sex, for some reason, ain't no power dynamic. No, love is love. What do you mean? What do you mean? There's nothing.
No,
Why do you think? Why do you think that is?
I mean, to be honest, I mean, this is something that's really an argument that I've really only come up in recent memory. You know what I'm saying? During the 60s and 70s, ain't no one was going to be having this argument. Like, Malcolm X would not argue with you over this. They already knew the truth. I think it was an effort by the United States government to kind of just put that shit under the rug and just be like, oh, well, we don't know what you're talking about. Oh, Emmett Till, white woman did that in a third. I don't know what you're talking about. White man assaulting black women? What? No. It's all love. You know what I'm saying? Kind of just to build up the image of the country and to ensure that nobody actually tries to replace the system with a system that will benefit Africans in the United States of America.
It's not something we sat down at a table and said, hey, we as a black community feel left out. And we know that you've used our bodies for hundreds of years and essayed our mothers and our sisters, our daughters, and we've seen you do this in front of us, even have children, make them have children, and you've even done this to our men. Look up Pata Seca, the Brazilian enslaved ancestor that was forced to procreate and have over 150 children. At Pew Pew Point, by the way, at Pew Pew Point. And he was not the only one. Like, there were many. We've seen all of this happen. And you know what, white people? We're going to march. We're going to protest. We're going to march on Washington for interracial love. Like, we never had that conversation. So when the people brought here against their will, had their bodies used against their will, go to the same people that did all of this and say, you know what? We want this. And give that consent, we have a different conversation about ethics. We wouldn't even talk about ethics. But when those same people that did all of that decide for themselves that they want to make interracial marriage legal because one white man wants to marry into a rich black woman's family, and so the Supreme Court gives us Loving versus Virginia, something they didn't spit on us for, they didn't hose us down for, they didn't sick no dogs on us for it, but they gave it freely.
Yeah.
When we see this and we just don't have any choice in it, when did we didn't sit? They didn't sit down and ask us if we wanted this. They just gave it to us the same way they've been giving it to us for 400 years, 300 years before that. So how can we? How I don't see why it's hard for me to talk about ethics. I feel like honestly, if anything, we're having this discussion too late. Should have this should have been this discussion before. It's a shame that we have to have this discussion now. And as many white tea people as I've seen come up on this panel, as I've held this discussion, I've not seen one of them say it was unethical. I've not seen one of them say, you know what? We have a power dynamic in society that makes it unethical. Because when I, as a white tea person, get with a black person, I have more control over their life than they have over mine. I have more safety in their presence than they have in my presence. I um I'm a complicit participant in something that's harmful to their communities. And I don't do any work to unpack that. I don't do any work to dismantle it. But yet love is love. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all I'm getting up here is love. But I just haven't seen any pushback from them. And I think that's what tells the most about this, is they clearly think they have an entitlement to black people and to be in relationships with black people despite the history of black people in this country.
No doubt. It was a pleasure speaking with you, brother. I gotta go. I got some shit I need to handle out of town.
Okay.
Where
Join
is
the
your link for your
Discord.
Discord? Because I would be interested.
It's the link is in my bio. We're a nonprofit 501c3. We are building things for our community, so we're more than just a TikTok live. I kind of use this to kind of spread the word, but join us on Sunday, and we can talk about it amongst family.
All right, no doubt, brother.
All right, peace.
All right, peace.
All right. Welcome to the live, y'all. Back again. Spreading love is love, but not spreading reparations. I heard that, April. Hey, yo, big up April, man. April love, that's facts. That is facts. They spreading love, but they ain't spreading resources. They spreading love, but they ain't spreading reparations. What's up with that? We know what it is. Moderator, please don't bring everybody up here. We
What's
just
going
it's
on?
one
What's
at a
going on? What's
time.
going on, brother?
Peace. Hold on just a moment, soldier. We're gonna get to you in a moment. I just go one at a time so that everybody get a chance to talk, because everybody start talking all at once and it get problematic. All right, we're gonna go to the next guest. Frozen Coconut. Give us your age, your race, and your pronouns, please.
Oh, shoot. All right. How do I turn this off? Sorry, it's my first live. Dang. I don't know how to do this. Okay, there we go. All right, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, my name's Aaron. I'm from Hawaii, Alaska, 40. I don't know why I'm sounding like an AA type.
Age, race, pronouns. So you gave us your
Okay.
age with your race.
A race, white.
All right, your pronouns.
He.
All right, talk to us.
Okay. Sorry. So it's a big complex subject. So I don't want to sound arrogant. And I've only been in here for about 5 minutes. So there's a lot to unpack, with just, the title. But it sounds like it's more towards like the white black interracial marriage type situation rather than.
Yeah, that's the only thing we're talking about. That's the question. It says, are interracial relationships between black and white people ethical?
Okay, and I think I have a somewhat of a unique perspective on this, because I don't think it's unethical, because I am married to a Polynesian woman, and when it comes down to it, it's what do you love? What do you love about the other person? And you know, does it matter what other people think? No. and that's where I'm at. And what's funny is when you go, what do you do for their community? I was the only white guy. I don't know if you know much about Hawaii, but there's a like a West Side, and a lot of people are told, you know, it's scary and stuff, and it can be. I've been hassled many times on that side, and I was the only white guy working with autistic kids in the school. I was the only guy working with autistic kids on the West Side of Hawaii. Okay, and people looked at me, and that came with a lot of questions. Why is a guy working with kids? Why is a white guy on the West Side? Why is this? Why is that? And I got a lot of this pushback. And I'm like, hey, I'm here to help. I'm here to help a community that many times has shown me a fist or two. and that's, you know, and I understand Hawaii, and I understand that those guys that, you know, are very angry don't represent that aloha spirit that I have become very appreciative of. So I think,
What is the aloha spirit? Please let us know what that is.
yeah, so the aloha spirit is you take care of each other. It's a sense of community. It's a sense of respect. It's a sense of you take care of the land, you know. It's not this like get all you can and get out. It's not all of this you know, you get yours and everyone getting their own, and it's, you know, the strongest survive, basically. None of that really, you don't get a sense of that.
Didn't Europeans colonize Hawaii also?
And this is where, so it's not colonized. So you have different
Because
groups of
there's
people,
actually
right?
multiple people that were very much so took hold
And-
of Hawaiian, indigenous Hawaiian land. Like the people groups that were already living there, it was, you know, kind of stolen by YT
Yeah.
people. So now you're up here as a YT person
Mm.
stating a concept that's not yours.
So
you're
just
trying
how
to
I
use that
can
to justify how
yeah.
much you want to intermix with other racial
It's-
groups, which is kind of
So here's the thing. Just how I can understand
colonizer
that.
of you to do so.
So just how I have fists coming at my face, right? I know that doesn't represent all the Hawaiian people, right?
Good.
And just like white people that came here, some came on missions, right? I know a lot of towns and things that were set up that were promoting church, and right. And I know and I understand the history behind Hawaii, right? So you got, you know, they banned the language, they banned the dress, and did all these things that they said were, you know, ungodly. And I get that, right? And they did that to the Irish people. Irish people were slaves. Like they tried to breed out the Irish people. Like
That's a
the thing
lie.
I'm trying to
weren't.
no,
they weren't.
no. Go look it up,
They
bro.
were-
Go,
No, that's a lie. Hold
No,
on.
I got
Nah,
Hawaiian,
you
bro.
just lied. Now I gotta correct you. All right, hold on. Everybody. Irish people were never enslaved. That is a white supremacist, pseudo historical propaganda that they use to convert people into the Klan. You can look that up. Wikipedia will tell you itself. You can look it up. Like it's well known that it's a talking point used to make white T men feel bad about themselves, so that they go and join the Klan. Yes, Wikipedia. Yeah, even white people agree it's pseudo historical and used to propagate a myth that Irish people were enslaved. There was never Irish slavery. There was Irish indentured servitude by the crown. However, that is not the same thing as race-based chattel slavery. It's reliable enough because it's going to give you resources. Some of y'all don't know how to look up references, but yeah, even Whitepedia tells you that Irish people were not enslaved. So
Let's be very clear.
that
I think there was a YT woman that was Irish at one point that
came up on the live, and she was from Ireland, and she said the whole thing. She said that we were never slaves. She said that American Irish people are the only ones that believe that because, again, it's a white supremacist narrative to make them feel like they have to retaliate against anti-racist black people. I don't want to get into this. It is a big enough myth. We are not going to perpetuate it on this platform. That is a lie. It is something used to weaponize, and it's used to be weaponized and as a propaganda to get people to convert and join the Proud Boys and join white supremacist groups. So I'm not going to get into that whole thing with you. That is a damn lie. Even people in Ireland believe that's a lie. So, like, come on now. Let's not do
Bro,
that.
in America, Irish people were put in cages. I'm not talking about in Ireland, bro.
So, Mr. Clan Colonizer want to keep doubling down on that. I'm not here to perpetuate that bullshit. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Yeah, he can go. Anyone that's mad about it can leave too. Y'all not coming up. Nah, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. If y'all want to believe Irish people were slaves, then how come Irish people aren't trying to dismantle white supremacy? All right, if Irish people were slaves, right? June 19th, 1865. Do y'all know that? June 1st, 1863? Y'all know what those dates mean? Does anyone know what those dates mean? Put them in the comments if you know those dates. And you know the historical significance of those dates. January 1st, 1863 and June 19th, 1865. What did those dates mean? Those dates were the dates that African enslaved people, black people in the United States, became quote unquote freed from the institution of slavery. That was the date that they became independent of slavery, right? That's the day they were emancipated, quote unquote, from the institution of slavery. All right, so Irish people were slaves, right? Irish people were slaves, right? When was their emancipation date? Put it down in the comments. Let me know. Because why we not celebrating it, Irish people? Why we don't celebrate your emancipation? When was your emancipation date? Every time slavery has ended in a country, there was a celebration, an emancipation date, because everybody was glad they was no longer bound to the institution of slavery in that country. So when was Irish Emancipation Day? Why y'all don't have cookouts for that? Stop playing with me. You're going to see people say, look at someone say 1829. Y'all going to see people put random dates. Watch. They not all going to put the same date because they don't know. Like, this don't make no sense. There was no Irish slavery. There was Irish people that were indentured servants because they were criminals and they broken laws. They were oppressed by the English people. And that's white on white crime. I'm sorry, Irish people. But at the end of the day, that is between you and another country, not between you and another race that deems you inferior. And then on top of that, when your children was born, they were not born in indentured servitude. And on top of that, you had a contract. You had a contract. You had a contract. A date when your indentured servitude was fulfilled and your contract was fulfilled and you could leave. 1829 is a year. That's not an emancipation day. 1829 is a year. I said January 1st, 1863 and June 19th, 1865. I see how I give you a date. Anyway, y'all need to do your research and stop looking at some of these TikTokers converting y'all into white supremacist hate groups. We're going to go to the next guest.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
I'm 37 years old, I'm female, and I'm black. So, to answer the question about interracial relationships, I've never heard it from this perspective. Um, so, for me personally, black men have never been attracted to me, even when I went to school as a teenager. They were just never interested in my vibe. I would try to talk to them. I would try to like mac with them, talk to them, connect with them, and they weren't hearing it. They just weren't attracted to me. And so I ended up dating white men, and I'm married to a white man. So I wish there were more discussions about people who weren't attracted by members of their own race.
So you collectively asked every black man if they would have your hand in marriage, and they said no.
Well, no, it started off when I was a teenager, realizing that none of them wanted to go out with me. None of them wanted to date me. They would call me ugly. They
But
would make fun. They
when
would,
you say none of them, right? You know what generalizing is?
yes, I understand what that means.
Okay, so you're generalizing when you say none of them. Like you're putting black men into a monolith when you do
Oh,
that. And
I that
it comes off like you're speaking from a place of insecurity because I can never say none of them liked me when I didn't meet all of them. Like you can't say none of
So
them.
then let me correct myself then. That was not my intention to overgeneralize. I'm talking about from my experience in the town that I grew up in, I never had luck connecting with a black peer. I tried. I
Okay,
tried
so,
to
all right. So
flirt.
now let's unpack this together since
Yeah.
we're taking the anecdotal route. This is a political, ideological conversation, but I understand that some people don't have enough. Like we're going to end up going into anecdote and personal experience. So I'm going to still try to make this more of an abstract conversation than to focus particularly on your personal experience because that's really unfair. You could say, you seen a pig fly yesterday and that would just be something we couldn't prove. So I hear you, but at the end of the day, um
And I've
what do
seen,
you think it was? What do you think it was? Because when black women don't like a certain black man, I'm gonna be honest.
okay.
That's a red flag to me. Like when a man says black women don't like me, that's a red flag to me because black women have been the protectors of the black community for hundreds, thousands of years. So that being the case, when black women reject a brother, I know that there's something going on with that brother that black women are sensing that is a reason the black woman is staying away from him.
I think that there's an unhealthy belief within our black culture that we all need to act the same, dress the same, and like the same things.
But
And
but yet but you the one that generalized this. You were the one that put us into a monolith earlier. So now you're saying that they put you in a monolith. They like
absolutely,
you know what I'm saying? Like
I think it can go both ways.
it's kind of problematic that you would blame the entire group. 100 Frenchmen ain't wrong is a way my mom used to say it. I mean, of course, that's probably a problematic phrase, Frenchmen. But anyway, she would tell me growing up, 100 Frenchmen ain't wrong. And what she's saying is, if you get the same thing from black man to black man to black man to black man, I'm trying to unpack what you think it was, not in them, but do you have any self accountability? Do you think there is anything about you that these black men picked up that would make them feel this way, or are you going to continue to point your finger at everyone else?
I think that when I'm talking about myself, it's just that I didn't have the same interests as my other female black counterparts. I didn't have the same style. I was just very unique and different in the things that I liked,
I
and they
doubt
didn't
that.
accept that.
I
So,
doubt that. I
but
doubt
thank you
that
for letting me join. I
because you just
appreciate
made
you.
black people
Thank
a
you.
monolith again. You just did it again. She says that she doesn't have the same interest. What is the same interest? What is the interest that we all have in common, y'all? Can all the brothers and sisters in here? What is the one thing that we all have in common? You see what I'm saying? She keeps generalizing black people, but she thinks she was the special one that stood out. I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna be 100% honest. For real, on some real shit, we all stand out, brothers and sisters. I have not met two black people that are exactly alike. We range in skin tone, we range in tone of voice, we range in talent, we range in everything. Anything you need to find, you can find in the black community. If I like to skateboard, there's black people that do that. If I like to rock and roll and play guitar, there's black people that do that. If I like to whatever you like to do, if I like to play cards and twiddly diddly dee. You gonna find black folks twiddly diddly and deening the best you ever seen. So I don't know what y'all talking about when you say that you had some special interest in something. And no, the host is not mixed. The host has 4 black grandparents. So please keep the lies out of my comments and stop trying to attack the messenger because you can't come up with the intelligence to attack the message. Moving right along. Heavy, give us your
Yes,
age, race,
sir.
and pronouns,
Salute, brother.
please.
Salute. I see you up here doing your thing, fam.
Peace,
I hear you,
peace.
bro. Bringing real consciousness to the community and this dialogue, bro. It's definitely that.
Yes, sir. I'm trying. They're not gonna hear me on TikTok, but that's why we got b1initiative.org. The link is in my bio. Go to my page, click the link in my bio. I'm here to raise consciousness. I'm here to get y'all to think critically. My teacher is Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. My teacher is Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. My teacher is John Henry Clark. My
Yes,
teacher is
sir.
the Honorable Dr. Khalid Muhammad. My teacher
Likewise.
is John G. Jackson. My
Yes,
teacher
sir.
is Ivan Van Sertima. The list goes on. You know what I'm
Prophet Noble.
saying?
Let's not forget Prophet Noble Drew Ali. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought the
All
consciousness
right.
back to the fold,
Doc,
bro.
Dr. Barashango, Dr. Ishaka Musa Barashango.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and all them brothers definitely did their scholarship, you know, and just like you said, carrying that torch, bro, it's important, you know what I mean, to do the knowledge and do the research and just get back right and exact with identity and these different claims and assertions and how we have been, you know, just what you want to say, disenfranchised, disinherited by wordplay. The pen has been mighty in the swords, you know what I mean? They didn't put these labels and tags and misnomers, just like you spoke on that earlier, shadow brand names. You know, that's very essential to just us understanding the proper diagnosis of what's actually taking place to even set, you know what I mean, when you say separate and divide what we looking at here, these different topics of ethics and, you know, community and who is who and what's what. You know what I mean? That's very important, man. And you know,
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate the conversation, bro. I be on the same type of time and just me more so getting acclimated to the system to kind of at the same time do what you doing, bro. You know what I mean? Like people want to have these conversations. People in tune with this. This is like social commentary. You know what I mean? It's a lot of things going on even within our own community with relationship dynamics. So I would say the ethic part of it, hell no, it's not ethical because we ain't even got our own house in order, brother. So
There
let
you go.
alone you got to do your chores for you think you finna go play with your homie next door. You know what I'm saying? The ones ain't cleaned their house up, bro. Ones that swept the dirt under the rug, left the gum, all this shit, bro. It's sticky countertops. You feel me? It's old ass food in the refrigerator, bro. You know what I mean? So before ones could even think about considering doing all that other shit, bro, it's most importantly it's essential to get the house in order, man. So
Absolutely.
I would say it's unethical, man, just on the strength of that first and foremost, man.
Absolutely. That's fact. Thank you for dropping that angle that you bring to it. That's facts. As long as the black woman is unsafe in our own communities, then we don't need to be with no other women. We
You
brothers,
feel
we
me?
got work to do. Until we've learned as black men to love ourselves,
Yes, sir.
then we don't got time to be loving people that taught us not to love ourselves. We got
Yes, sir.
time for that.
Nah, that's a fact,
until
bro.
until there's justice, we don't got peace. Martin Luther King, you know, I like Martin Luther King in the New Testament, not the Old Testament. But
That way.
Martin Luther King, you know, at the end he started to radicalize a little bit more. But anyway, Martin
Yeah.
Luther King's quote said, "True peace is not the absence of tension, but the presence of justice. And we don't have peace until we have justice. Justice, defined by Dr. Neely Fuller Jr., is the guarantee of safety and the guarantee that those that have been harmed get the most help. We have been the most harmed and we don't receive help. And
Man.
until we are in an environment where our sisters, our brothers are guaranteed safety, at least amongst us,
Come
then
on,
what
bro.
the hell we look like marrying those that have caused the injustice and violence we see in our communities, those that have caused the self-hatred that we have yet to unpack.
Man. Nah, that's heavy, man. That's too heavy. And when you're speaking, like you say, the knowledge itself, bro, is so essential. And even just when you're speaking on cultural identity and one's having these misnomers and really using these things as if they the concrete end all be all. It's just like we speaking on how we speaking loosely. But when we speaking like specifically in terms of law, for one, colors are adjectives, right? We know that people are proper nouns, people, placing things and ideas are proper nouns.
Right.
The word white, black is a descriptive word. That's an adjective. That's improper to even identify one with that terminology. I was speaking to a brother from Nigeria, man. I was criminal justice major at Chicago State, man, and I was doing a research paper, but I've been studying law for just as a hobby for over 10 years now, bro. And I was speaking to the brother. He was a police officer on 71st and Cottage Grove Police Department right there. And I just hit him with a question. I asked him, I said, man, I could tell he was a foreigner. And I asked him where he was from. And he said, guess. And I said, Kenya. He said, my mother Kenya. You know what I mean? And he was from over there, right? So I asked him, I said, man, I've been doing a research paper and I come across some important information about terminology and identification. And black, for one. Do you identify as black? This man was darker than me and you put together. Me and you about the same complexion. His melanin was more richer than me and you. Yeah, he said, no, sir. I do not identify as black. That's improper. They don't teach us that over there where we come from. The man had white on his ID, brother. The man identified because no, I'm dead serious, brother. The word white is an identity. It's a status in law. And even if you go and look up the U.S. Census and define these terms, white, it identifies with Africans. It's a status. It's not your color, because nobody is the color white. So, I mean, if we being specific, like that doesn't even fit, right? And
Who are we?
It was interesting to hear him say that because I knew that already. And for him to confirm that and him being from the motherland, so to speak, I thought that was interesting. You know what I mean? He said, yeah, you know, you basically.
Well, who are we then? Who are we then? We ain't black. We ain't black. We ain't white. Who are we then?
If we from America, first of all, we the Aboriginal people of America. We can just leave it at that. And then the nation.
That ain't who we are, brother. Come on now. Who are we now?
Look, let me say this. We Moors. No question. We Moors.
Man, come on, man. Look, man, don't bring, man. Come on, brother. You seen the people I'm talking about?
Hold on.
They ain't tell us we was from
Dr.
America.
Ivan Serta too, right? You talked about Dr. Hendrick Clark.
Dr. Ivan Van Sertima said the people that came here first had an African phenotype, and we understand that they practice in the African culture, absolutely. But that is not all of us. And then at the same time, that's not even most of us. But then at the same time, those that were here first, when those that arrived here by boat by the millions was enslaved, those people was also enslaved and were forced to mix and do a whole bunch of mixing with us. So even though we can claim those historic roots. We don't got to take it all the way back there. That's not what most of us are from.
Look, but it's man traces himself back so he may know.
I have yet to see
your descent nation. We can only be that from what you came from.
I have yet to see a brother that looked like me or darker take their DNA test and it say pure American.
Right.
I've yet to see that.
I feel that. You know what I mean? It's a lot of.
I've seen them have a little bit of Native American, and then I've seen them have Nigerian, Benin, Togo, Senegal, all this other stuff. But I've yet to see one person that looked like me get a DNA test and it just say pure. You from America? You've been here for thousands of years before Columbus.
Right. But see, that's the thing too. So we talking about before Columbus, right?
So who are we? Dr. John Henry Clark said the proper name of a people.
Part of the Moorish Empire. I'm a Moor. I know my heritage. I know that history. I know that history of the Moorish Empire. I know
the Moors were Romans. The Moors were in Rome.
Right? I mean, of course, Rome is a land. It's not a cult. It's not a.
I know, but so who was they before that? Who was they before that?
We're not talking about.
What did Rome call the land of the people of Moorish descent came from? What did they call that land? What did ancient Rome call that land that the Moors came from?
Mauritania.
And what was the name of that land that they named that the Moors came from?
Mauritania.
It ends with a ka, because ka is a Latin suffix meaning land.
Okay.
Land of. Dr. John Henrik Clarke says the proper name of a people should relate, and is always related, to land, history, and culture. What is the name of the land, history, and culture that these people that you're talking about, these Moors, where did they come from?
The land of it's Africa, brother.
All right, there
Mauritania.
you go. That's right. Hey, man, that's all.
Yes, sir. But see, and absolutely, I never once ever take away from that, right? So that's the throne land, right? That's the throne, right? This is our homeland. We born here. Even when you say like continental drift, we talk about the great earthquake, the flood. We know that the landmass was connected.
Heavy,
We
hold
know
up, hold
that
up,
it's all
family,
type of.
family,
We know that
family.
it's a lot of
Hold up,
current that
heavy,
comes
heavy,
through that
heavy,
slave.
heavy,
Hold on, brother. Hold on. So we know
heavy.
that
No,
slave
no, you're
era
misquoting
is not
history,
true.
family.
Hold
Yeah,
on,
you
Hold on.
brother.
misquoted history right there. It's
Yeah, because
What's that?
Pangea, there were no human beings on Pangea, family. Like that's over 200 million years ago. There were no human beings walking around 200 million
Okay,
years
so
ago.
watch
If
this.
you had said
So we know
dinosaurs,
that
I'd be
these
like,
people keeping
okay,
all this records, right? And
but
they got
not
dinosaur
human.
bones and all that, right? So where's these slave ships that they brought all these people over on here? Where's
Brother, they
where the
literally
footprints?
have
Where
evidence
the
of
footprints?
them at the
we ain't
bottom of
doing
the
that. Nah,
Atlantic.
nah, nah. Look, brother, you don't even gotta do that. We're not doing that.
All right.
Where's hold on. Where is the Mayflower? Where's the Mayflower, y'all? Where's the Mayflower, the Santa Maria? Where them boats at? Has anybody seen one? Where'd they go? The white people indigenous to here too? Can someone tell me? Has anybody seen the Mayflower? And then they're gonna turn around and say that they're gonna use slavery denial and say that we ain't come here on the ships that they brought us here on because they can't find a slave ship. So where's the Santa Maria? Please, someone let me know. Y'all out here looking for the Black Pearl. Y'all looking for Davy Jones' locker. Come on now. I hate it when they start off right and then they go left because of their own internalized anti-blackness. That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. Ain't nothing wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with being black. I'm black and I'm proud. Black power. And I know that that is not my sole identity. I understand that the identity of the people that I come from are African people. We are representatives of Africa no matter where we go. When we in the Caribbean, what they call us, Afro-Caribbean. They call you Afro-Latina, Afro-Latino. They call you African-American. No matter where we go, we are representatives of the land, history, and culture that we come from. And I have yet to see one pretendian get their DNA back and it say 100% that they American. If y'all so American, how come I don't see y'all with 50% or more American looking like us? How come I don't see that? I'm puzzled. And then if y'all think what y'all doing is so revolutionary by not calling yourselves black, if y'all think that really worked, then show us how that has helped you. And show us why it is that when black people start calling themselves African, when we start talking about Pan-African consciousness, why is it that the oppressor gets so mad at us? Why has the CIA unalived Pan-African leaders, but he ain't alive in Tariq Nasheed or none of y'all pretendian leaders? Why is it that every pretendian is alive and well? Every black person that's an aboriginal indigenous to the land of America, how come y'all are alive and kicking? Nobody has tried to disrupt y'all movements. No one has tried to silence y'all. Y'all all on TikTok. Why is it that the oppressor is so comfortable with keeping y'all around if what y'all are doing is so revolutionary? Why is it that they aim at Pan-Africans then? Come on now. We're not falling for that. We're going to keep it pushing. RIP, RIP to our revolutionaries. RIP Patrice Lumumba. You know what I'm saying? RIP our revolutionaries. Those that was cut down short. RIP Thomas Sankara. We're going to keep it pushing though. RIP Omawale. Brother Malcolm X. El Haj Malik El Shabazz.
Hello.
Hello, hello, Becky. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Hi. Good evening, bro. Good
Good
evening.
evening. Peace.
It's me. It's me. It's Becky. Becky Ode.
Okay, Becky. Give us your age,
Yeah.
race, and pronouns, please.
I'm just listening for what you are just saying since. Brother, listen to me. I'm a African woman. I live in Italy since 28 years old. I married
Can
with
you give
this.
us your yeah?
Yeah?
All right. So you're an African woman. Give us your age. Are
Yeah.
you over 18?
Yeah?
Are you over 18?
I'm I'm 46 years old.
All right. Talk to us.
Okay. So I am in Italy. I married to a white man, white in Italian man. Then I gave birth to this Italian man 3 kids. We have 3 kids. So he said that he doesn't want me again. Then we divorced. No problem. I was living in my home. This guy be putting poison in my food to kill me. So that
Say unalive. Say unalive. Don't say the K word. Unalive.
yeah. To just eliminate me. You understand? So after set I've done, this mercy set me up with my nephew to to eliminate me. Then pay this guy to eliminate me. So as after set I've done, I was in the hospital. This guy still make contract with these two daughters of Rome. The hospital name is San Giovanni Hospital. This man make agreement with two daughters over there to eliminate me. You understand? So
Yeah, you
now
understand.
they were sticking that I am not in the life again. When I am still living, breathing, they said I am not living again. I am in another world. I'm
With
not
the
in this world
ancestors.
again, but I am still living. So I don't know how I can say we black here, we black Africa, we don't know what we are doing. But America black that is fighting for the past long years that they did not have opportunity for what they have did to our grandfather, our grandmother to be a slave. Now we have opportunity. Now we have what they have done to us. Then now we are still in their feet, in their slave. I am very hungry of this something they have done to me. I went to our embassy. They bribed them. And the good white people and be saying this is the opportunity of black people to stand up for what they have did done to me. Nobody said nothing. I know that people in America all over the world, they have heard this matter. Nobody said about it. Nobody. And my kids are still living with this dead man. And they said that I'm not in the life. Everything is rot. Now is for the black America black, because the black African, they are scary. Now is the time of black America to stand up for their rights before they kill me, before I die.
All right. Yeah, she doing too much. She doing too much. I'm trying to keep her up here so she can tell a story. She can't keep saying all that. I ain't mad at you though, sis. It's just, you can't talk like that on TikTok. I ain't mad at sis though. We want to hear black women tell their story. It's just, what I'm saying? You can't talk like that on here. This ain't a platform built for revolutionary conversation like protecting black women. But if you want to have this discussion, sister, I encourage you to click the link in my bio, b1initiative.org. Come to the Pan-African congregation. We'll hear you out. We'll do something about it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you kind of put yourself in that situation with that white T man. I'll tell you that much. Brothers and sisters, we supposed to know better. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be putting ourselves in situations around them Yankees. You know what I'm saying? Them Yankee Doodle Doos. You know what I'm saying? Italian people don't put enough salt in their food for me to be out there trying to love on some of them. So don't put yourself in them situations. The black women, y'all black women know this better than black men do. So I don't even have to tell y'all. Black women know. You know what I'm saying? A lot of, just remember that you're personally responsible for your health. And white tea people are unhealthy. All right, Tiff R, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
My age is 41. I am black and white. And pronouns.
Yeah, we ain't doing that. If you don't know your race, don't come on my live. If you don't know your race, don't come up here. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Don't come up here if you don't know your race. When I ask you your age, race, and pronouns, I give certain leeway with the pronouns question, depending on who you are and how you present it. I'll let some of y'all maybe slide. But we gotta know our race, y'all. We up here talking about race. We ain't up here talking about pronouns. No, you're not black and white. Ain't no such thing as anybody on earth that is both black and white. There's black people with white parents, absolutely. But ain't nobody ever gave you half a speeding ticket because you was black on a Friday driving home from work. Ain't nobody ever gave you half a job because they discriminate against black women in the workplace. Ain't nobody ever told you you could have half a baby and be half alive because medical racism is something that's not your race. That is not your race. Black and white is not your race. Ain't no such. The only people that think black and white is a race is biracial people that want to try to cling to whiteness somehow. They trying to use their mother's white access card, and they keep getting declined, but they keep it in their pocket so that they can show it off and say, "Hey, look, I got one of these. I got one. You can't use it. You can't cash it. You can't. None of the privilege. Access denied. Access denied." But you want to try to claim it. So you want to keep that canceled credit card in your wallet and make you feel better. All right, but don't come up here. Don't come up here. Ain't no such thing as both being black and white at the same time. So you telling me half of you oppresses the other half? That don't make no sense. One half of you colonize the other half? Come on now. Come on now. Let's keep it real. And brother Timothy, what's your race?
Black.
All right, there we go. You heard that? Shout out to all the black people. Brother Timothy, what race is your father?
My father's of European ancestry, white.
Yeah, absolutely. So you see how you can be black with a white parent? That's how it works, y'all. Absolutely. He understands that he can love his father and his father can love him, but his father don't love his people. And just because he love his father don't mean that his people love him back. So that being the case, ain't no such thing as black and white. And if y'all believe black and white exists so much and that white people have changed their mind about the one drop rule, then I question you all this. How come we don't see white people in their panels or right here on TikTok, on Twitter, on any live? How come you don't see white people holding space and saying, biracial people, welcome back. Welcome to the community. We welcome you guys. Where are these biracial country music stars that just the Republicans want to have you? The Republicans all love. Like where's all the love at then? Where's all the love at then? You can claim the parent. We ain't mad at you for claiming your parent. You can't claim the people because you don't have access. And don't sit up here and lie. Don't sit up here and lie. Black is a race. And that wasn't my idea. So don't even try to say he's perpetuating an idea made by white people. No, I'm perpetuating a reality that I do not control. And I'm perpetuating critical thinking and understanding of how this reality is controlled. I mean, if you race is not a thing. If you want to say anything, y'all want to say black is not a race. Race don't exist. All right, race don't exist. Let me know how that work out for you. Is that going to free you from oppression? Is that going to free you from economic disparities? Is that going to give you a voice in entertainment? Is that going to liberate your mind with education? Because black isn't a race no more? Is that all we had to do? All we had to do, y'all, was close our eyes and pretend hard enough that black is not a race. And then, what do you know? I can get in the elevator with them and they give me hugs. Huh, who knew? I can walk behind them in the middle of the night with my hoodie on and they don't start walking faster and cross the street. It all went away, y'all. Wow. My bankers love me now. They give me loans. All we had to do was be anything else. Come on now.
Yeah. As soon as you walk into that bank, the first thing they're going to do is look at you dead in your face and be like, yeah, approved. You could try all you wanted to identify as everything else under the sun, but at the end of the day, that system is going to address you as you present. If you present as a black person, that's exactly how they're going to treat you.
So that being the case, when people say that they are mixed, all they're saying is I'm non-white. Why do you center your identity around your lack of proximity to whiteness? Why do you create an identity that just tells us you're non-white? When you say, I'm biracial, that's my race. My race is biracial. That's like me saying my race is monoracial. Me and Taylor Swift are the same race. Yeah, I'm the same race as Donald Trump. That's my cousin. We both monoracial. You ain't know? Yeah, me and Jackie Chan, we're monoracial. Yeah, we need our own safe spaces for monoracial people. Like this how y'all sound. Monoracial don't tell us nothing. It don't tell you which part of the caste system are you in. The reason we ask your age, race, and pronoun is because we want to know your perspective and get a little bit of context on what side of the caste system you represent from the context of what you're saying. If a white tea person come up here and say interracial marriages are unethical, that means something completely different than a brother or sister coming up here and saying interracial marriage is unethical. That means something completely different. It matters what the context of the conversation is. See what I'm saying? We not up here saying interracial marriages should be illegal. We're saying that black oppression should be over before we start loving our oppressor. That's what we saying. We saying interracial marriage should not be something that, at least in the black community, is seen as ethical until those people that y'all are claiming to love have decided to liberate you. And they're not going to do that. We know that. But yeah, here we are talking about love. Here we are talking about love. I've yet to see one white tea person come on this panel and say it was unethical. They've all come up here and tried to convince us of otherwise. Anybody want to come up, send a request, Don't stay in the comments. Don't stay in the comments. Come up in here and say it with your forehead. Turn your camera on and say it with your forehead. Come on up. I got a bird's nest out my window. I'm like Bob Marley. 3 little birds. I can't sing. Come on up. Come on up. Y'all typing think pieces in them comments. Come on up. Oh, what? Cruzan, don't come up here starting trouble. This person already came up. He gonna come up here and tell us we the true black foot, black kneecap, black ass. He gonna we gotta get new people up here. He coming up here saying we need to put feathers in our hair. All
Brother,
right.
hold on. Wait a second, man. Didn't you hear? We were roaming around with the dinosaurs. We used to ride raptors through the plains of Pangea. Come on, man.
Oh, Timothy, your meeting is today.
Oh crap. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, Jessica got never mind. All right. Yeah. Oh, did you want to meet? I mean, Jessica did have something to report, but you can hop out and just come back, brother. It's up to you. Um, Niambi, give us your age, race, and pronouns.
My age and pronouns, I'm 24 and it's she, her,
Race.
black,
All right, talk to us.
American. Um, I don't know. I guess I'm just curious. Like, are you, like, what is your opinion? Like, do you think that they're unethical?
I'm not here to answer the questions. I'm here to ask them.
Okay, well,
What do you think?
my opinion is I don't think that it's unethical. I think that it can be in certain situations when fetishes like play a part. Like oftentimes white men or no, oftentimes white women fetishize black men, or black men fetishize white women. Like I think when people are with each other because of their race and not because of the person that they are, then it's unethical because when you produce children, they have toxic views about their own identity. So that's what I think, I guess.
Somebody said my TikTok live got a restriction that says I have sexually suggestive content, which is really weird. I have not said anything like that. Anyway, so do you believe black oppression exists?
Like oppression against black people?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do. I think it definitely exists.
Okay. So what group has been the purveyor of injustice towards black people?
Historically, white people.
Historically, as in the past or present?
Present and past. I mean, imperialism. Well, I think that it's a really complicated subject because race and class in like the oppression game, they often intersect. Like white people were the ruling class and still are the ruling class, but there's also a lot of poor white people. Like I would say the ruling class and the people who are the
So
oppressors
you're
are
saying poor
rich.
white people can't oppress black people?
They can because okay, like the people who created this society and like the leaders, the rich white people, like they created the whole system of um, white supremacy and like instilled white supremacy in the laws and instilled white supremacy in the values like in our culture. And I mean, it's one of the things that they use to divide like the general public. So I do think that white people like poor white people can oppress black people because the ruling class has like put all white people on a pedestal. I mean, it's not really blatantly, apparent in the laws, but it still exists because we still have some of the same laws and cultural values that we did have when racism was like blatantly a part of the legislation.
So it's no longer blatant?
No, I don't think in the language it is, but I think it's definitely blatant when you look into the context.
Define blatant.
Okay, like when I say blatant, like I say like in the past, black people specifically, like it was segregation was legal. Like people could discriminate against
You think
black people,
segregation is
not allow
illegal
them into
today?
their businesses, not sell things to them. Like now
You
you
think
can't
that
really
doesn't
do that
happen
anymore.
today?
You can't deny someone service because of their race. That's against the law, technically, but
Hmm.
it still happens.
So then how did Wells Fargo get sued for, I mean, not Wells, well, Wells Fargo got sued too, but most recently Navy Federal is being taken to court for discriminating against 50% of black applicants and rejecting them for home loans.
It's still against the law. Like that doesn't mean that people like still get by. Like corporations are discriminatory against minorities and poor people every day, but it's still against the law. It's not in the law, but it still exists within our society because it's pervasive and permanent in our culture. Like it's been instilled for hundreds of years, so thousands of years.
So why is it that black men tend to fill up the prisons? 35% of the prison
Like
population is black men, yet black men only make up 6% of the
this is what I'm
population.
saying. Like I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but
I'm saying it is in the law. It's just, I guess
like they can't.
I kind
They,
of get what you're saying. They can't explicitly state the race of the people they're oppressing in the law,
right.
but the law still can be created. For example, where I'm from, there was a law that you couldn't sag your pants or you would get a fine or get thrown in jail. But it gave police an opportunity to search many black men that would sag their pants. Do you think that, just because it didn't mention black men explicitly, that that law was not aimed at black men in a
It
black way?
definitely was discriminatory against black men. I agree with that.
That's what I'm
I agree
saying.
with that.
So,
And I think that, like, when I say blatant, like, obviously, like, I think that the laws, like, racism still exists within the laws. When I say blatant, I mean, like, they explicitly state, like, like, back in the day, when I say back in the day, I'm talking about,
but I'm saying if the impact is still the same, you know, it's like I slap a liquor label on a bottle of poison, and we're gonna call it a better drink, or a less deadly drink. Like it's the impact is still the same. Like I think to be honest, it gives the devil an inch to say that it's different now. Like it's not. The impact is worse. Schools are more segregated now post Brown versus the Board of Education than they've ever been. Look it up. There's studies about this. Medical racism is at a height. Mass incarceration still persists in our community, and I just gave you the statistic on that. 35% of the prison population is black men, and we only make up 6% of the population.
listen,
So
I definitely agree with you. Like,
there's
no,
more black
there's
men
no
in
doubt in my
prison.
mind that, like,
There's
racism
more
still
black
exists and it's still being, like,
There's more black men in prison today than there was black men in chains during slavery at one time. There's been more black men in prison in the past 30 years than there was during 339 years of slavery in America. Like then all black, and note that 60% of slaves brought here from the continent of Africa were black men, 66% to be precise. Of slaves brought here from Africa were men. Women couldn't make it a lot of the times. Like the men were more resilient to certain hostile environments. And I'm just saying, it to me is blatant if you look at the impact. Um, I understand the language has changed, but white supremacy. Have you ever heard of the fixed fallacy of racism?
I've never heard of that phrase specifically.
The fixed fallacy is the idea that white supremacy is static and unchanging. White supremacy has always updated itself. It's always moved around. Even the idea of whiteness has changed in the past 150
Yeah.
years. So you see what I'm saying? It's always moved around because it's a falsehood. But at the end of the day, just because they changed the language, I think
Yeah, I
that's.
mean, I agree with everything that you just said. Like, I, I mean, I don't know, like, what you think my opinion is, but like,
Oh
I
no, I'm not judging you.
definitely agree. Like, the prison system, the industrial prison system, like, it's modern day slavery, and they're using the people in there as like
Okay.
cheap
Now,
labor. You know,
do you think that? Do you believe that white people hold privilege when it comes to these forms of oppression, or do you feel like they're just as oppressed by these same systems?
I think that even if you're a homeless, poor white person, you still hold some sort of privilege over a black person. Like, I
Okay.
definitely think that
Okay.
there are nuances in
So
terms of wealth and access to resources, but like being white, like because white supremacy exists, you simply have an upper hand in terms of race.
okay. So I'm going to name 10 areas of people activity, and you let me know if white people have privilege over black people in these areas. All right, so
Okay.
the first one is economics.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah.
Okay. The next one is education.
For in the comments, I'm not giving white people any grace. Who said I like what?
No, no,
Anyways,
no. Please don't go to the comments.
sorry.
We got to go through a list of,
Education.
yes,
Yes. Oh, like
in the field of education, people activity, education. Do white people have a privilege?
yeah. But can I make a comment about that? Like about the education? Like I've taken a lot of like. Well, I'm not trying to flex on education or nothing, but like I've taken like public health classes. I've educated myself in like public health and things like that because like that's part of my profession. But like oftentimes white people do have the upper hand in terms of residential areas, like even like the health the health in the area, like access. I'm sorry, I'm not very articulate, but oftentimes, like, have you heard of like environmental racism? Like
Yes,
oftentimes,
I was going to be an environmental lawyer at one point, actually.
okay.
Environmental lawyer.
But so you know that like oftentimes like black areas are neglected. Like oftentimes black people live in areas and it intersects between like poor and black, but usually majority poor areas are black, especially in urban settings. But like they're often like next to like power plants or like places where the air quality is much, much lower. And so like
Super fun
they
sites.
develop
That's what they're
chronic,
called.
huh?
Super fun sites. That's what they're called.
Like they can develop like chronic diseases based on their resident place of residence. Like I think that white areas are often taken care of better by the government. Black areas are often neglected. And so in terms of like resources, like public places where people can be without being in danger, like education, good schools, good public schools, good free education. Like I think white people definitely have the upper hand.
All right. So let's get back to the 10 areas. We got 8 of them left.
Okay.
All right. So we said economics. You said yes. Entertainment. I mean, sorry, education. You
Yeah.
said yes. Now, entertainment. Do they have privilege in entertainment?
Yeah.
All right. We know representation matters, and we're represented only through the eyes of the oppressor. So,
Yeah.
entertainment. All right. Now, next, labor.
Yeah. I would agree.
Okay. Law.
In terms, yeah, definitely. There would
Do
have to be a
they?
revolution in order for there to be equal standing
All
in
right.
terms of that.
So, do they have privilege in politics?
Yes.
Do they have uh, do they have a privilege in religion?
In religion, in terms of,
In terms of how religion is weaponized? In terms of what religions are officially recognized as religion?
yeah, I agree. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, what about in war?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we named 9 areas. All right. We named 8. We have one more. What about health?
Yes. Yeah.
We spoke on health, right?
Yeah.
So we listed the areas of people activity that white people have a privilege in. We named economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, war, and health. There's one area of people activity that we did not mention. And that area, the 10th area, is love. Do they have privilege in love?
I guess I didn't really understand that.
I no,
In
I
finding a
I
partner?
commend you for saying you don't understand. And I've said this on my live multiple times. This is not some debate. I'm here to raise the consciousness. Really, what I'm saying when I say that is I want people to think critically about everything that comes into the black community. We should question everything. And the idea that we are not supposed to question certain things troubles me because we're oppressed. And a lot of the ideas that we're talking about were not from us, but they were introduced to us. And anything introduced to oppressed people should give us pause,
Yeah.
give us time to think it through.
I definitely agree with that.
And so What I'm saying is, I just listed them. Those are the 10 areas of people activity influenced by white supremacy.
Right.
And so one of the areas black people tend to say, whoa, 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 whoa. We understand all the other areas, but when we get to love, come on now. Love is love. We don't question that. We don't even think about that. No, 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 no. And my thing is, we've been taught by them what love is. When our ancestors walked off the plantations, they had lost all connection to their historical roots, how they built family structures back in Africa. They lost their customs, their traditions, their rituals. They had lost all of this. And so when they were freed, quote unquote, off the plantations from the institution of slavery, and could form their own family groups and form their own bonds, the only example they had had for 339 years was their oppressor.
Right.
So these are the people that they look to as, examples of how to run a house. That's a part of the reason why we have corporal punishment so much in the black community.
Right. I agree with that.
Because we learned to love our children the same way Massa loved us, and that was a whipping when you did something wrong,
Right.
and that you had to teach your child to obey the same way Massa taught you to obey.
Right.
And so, what I'm saying though is, where did this idea of love come from in the black community, and is it something that is true to the black community? In a system of injustice, nothing is as it seems. Nothing is as it should be. When two people fall in love, like Romeo and Juliet, they see each other, they like each other, they just say, man, I love your hair, I love your smile, I like the way you carry yourself, I like, the type of things you do. It really connects with me. It really resonates. I love you. That's it. Black people in a system hostile towards black people don't get that luxury. That is why you see so many TikTokers, Twitter, even reality shows where they're talking about who's going to go 50-50 on the bill. Who,
Right.
I need a man that can provide. Because the first thing we have to think of in this war zone that we are in is this person conducive to helping me survive a hostile environment? A black woman needs to think, if I get pregnant, can he afford that baby? Are we going to be okay? A black woman needs to be able to feel like she can be protected by this black man, that he hasn't internalized patriarchy talked to him by the white man. She needs to and it's just, it goes on and on and on. But especially when we talk about white people, you can't tell me as a black person you could walk up to a white man and just say, "Oh wow, I just love you." You don't know if he got a "Make America Great Again" hat in his
Yeah,
truck.
I agree
You
with
don't
that.
know. So the first thing you have to think of is survival. When two people are in a hostile environment like a battlefield, and they have to form bonds based on the need to survive, we don't call them lovers. We call them comrades. That's much deeper than love. That's a commitment to each other. That's a responsibility towards survival. And the way Disney has taught us love is that you should just be with anyone that tickles your pickle. But we don't get that opportunity as black people. We don't get that opportunity in interracial relationships. We don't even get that opportunity with ourselves. So that is how they have a privilege in love. A privilege is a power you have but don't have to think about. They don't have to think about their safety when they walk up to a black person. They don't have to think about their safety when they walk up to another white person. We do. So that is privilege and love. And the power dynamic and that privilege makes, just like it makes a prison guard and a prisoner, the prison guard don't have to worry about what's going to happen when they walk up to a prisoner. A professor and a student, a boss and his employee, All of these adults and a child. These relationships are unethical because of that power dynamic, because of the ability to take a disadvantage of someone that doesn't have the same access to that power dynamic that they have. So if all of those relationships are unethical during Black oppression, how is it ethical for us to be marrying those that have this privilege over us?
I've never thought about it like that. I think that your thought process is really interesting, and I can understand, like, I can fully understand why, like, you think that they are unethical.
There's a book on this, but it's not on this specifically. It touches on all 10 areas of people activity by Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. Have you ever heard the term systemic racism?
Yeah, of course.
That's where everyone gets that. It's this book called The Compensatory Counter-Racist Code by Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. And if you've ever heard of being on code, that's what they're talking about too. The compensatory counter-racist code. It's basically a rule book for people that are trying to survive white supremacy. It's basically it's actually there's a workbook. Actually, it's a complete textbook. Like, it's not like a novel or an opinion piece. It's actually a textbook with definitions and different ways of just asking why. Like, all you have to do in the context of racism, white supremacy, is just ask why enough, and you will get to see where society is misleading you. Appreciate you, Chanel. I'm not saying that what we call black people and what we call white people shouldn't be able to love. I'm saying that as long as black people are oppressed, and as long as black and white exist, that union is not ethical.
I can see that.
All
Okay.
right.
Well,
Well, thanks for coming up.
no problem. Thank you
All
for the
right.
conversation. Bye. Have a good day.
You too. I think that's the best breakdown I've had so far. She was very willing to listen. Big up to that sister, man. The book is called The Compensatory Counter-Racist Code. You can look up Counter-Racist Code book and it will come up on Google. And these teachings are not my own. I feel like Black Gold Magic. I feel like you understand where I'm coming from, brother. You seem like you might know a thing or two. But these teachings are not my own. I'm just regurgitating the scholars that taught me, you know what I'm saying, through their lectures, through their writings. So that's all I'm doing here is just asking brothers and sisters to think more critically. Don't get mad about interracial relationships not being ethical. Get mad about black oppression still existing and we still trying to sit here and love our oppressor. All right, I'm going to go to the next guest. Ganja, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Black man, my 40s. I don't know what the pronoun thing is. I don't know what
All
the
right,
pronoun.
talk to us.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like I get what you're saying, and I would, if I had no other choice, right? If my back was against the wall, I would agree with you. I would agree with you in most of the things that you're saying. Like I said, most, but because like I just want to know at what point do we start to take some responsibility, like some responsibilities. Like I heard you bring up, schools are more segregated now than they were before Brown versus the Board of Ed, and
Yeah.
prior, the same statistic shows that prior to the Brown versus Board of Ed, like we was doing dope. Black people was more education, more this, more graduates, but a lot of black people fought to sit alongside those kids.
Mm-hmm.
a lot of and it didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a lot of black people fought to go to certain neighborhoods. Like I studied real estate. I went to school for real estate at one point, and I know these words: redlining, blockbusting, um,
Mm-hmm.
um, um, even the word gentrification, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy. Like it's our neighborhood, right? This is why I say, when are we going to take some responsibility? Because it's the same dirty crackhead neighborhood that these people gentrify and turn it into million dollar neighborhoods. It's the same neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Why we can't clean up? Why we can't make sure the garbage get picked up? Why we can't police our own neighborhoods and do some lawn care?
Why do you
We
think?
buy Gucci, we
Why do
buy
you
this,
think?
we buy that, huh?
Why do you think we don't do that?
I don't know why we that's the problem that I want. That's why I'm up here. That's why I'm up here. Like I want to know why, because it seems that we seem to have some type of lull, some type of spell that we're under where we just can't get it together. Like I've heard all of them. The what's his name? I forgot his name now. Doctor what's his name? Boyce
Mark
Watkins.
Johnson.
Boyce Watkins always have him on there. Always have him on there. He's the one that talks about economic building and
I
all
know
of
you're
that
not
other
talking about Claude Anderson.
Claude Anderson, Dr. Claude Anderson.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm not a fan, but yeah,
No, why not?
I'm not a fan because he's not taking into consideration something that I can't even say on TikTok. When I say W people, you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
All
definitely,
right.
definitely.
So when I talk about my genes, I guess you can say genetic, right? And then another word is survival, but I'm not going to say these three words together. WGS. Do you know what that means?
Hold- WGS? No, what are you talking
I
about?
just said it. I just said it.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
YT
yeah.
people. Then the second word is genetic. The last word is
Mm-hmm,
survival, right? That
mm-hmm.
is the crux. Like that is the the idea behind anti-blackness that created systemic racism. And basically, Claude Anderson, even though what he says is it sounds good as a band-aid, it's not going to lead to the liberation of black people. When it comes to black powernomics and all that other stuff, it's a little short-sighted. It's not a long-term solution. The long-term solution that makes sense the most is Dr. Amos Wilson's blueprint for Black Power. That's the one where we're creating our own economic base instead of trying to make a competing economy in our oppressors on our oppressors' land. Like they're never going to let us make a competing economy. And now that's speaking back to what you were saying about why we don't do these things. If we didn't want desegregation to happen, and the white T man did, what was we going to do about it?
If we didn't want it to happen,
Yeah,
and
if we wanted to stay in our own communities and we wanted to stay keep them
but
from
that's not what
gentrifying our
happened though.
communities,
That,
what
that's not
power
what
would we hold to do something to stop them?
But that's not what happened. That's not what happened. The black community got together and they fought to get desegregated. That's what happened. The white people actually, the white tees actually wanted it to be segregated.
Why did they fight? Did they fight to go to the same schools as the white T folks, or did they fight to get the same access to resources as white T folks?
No, they were doing sitting at lunch counters. They wanted to eat next to them people. They wanted to take the bus and ride in front.
Right,
They
but
wanted to
that
rub
that
shoulders and mingle. They
but
wanted to
that
be equal.
but that also loses sight of the bigger picture. Is that we were in areas that were less. Um, how can I explain it? Like my wife's family is from an area in South Carolina where back when she was a kid, she used to go visit her family down south in the '90s, and they were still living in like shacks in the
Yeah,
south.
yeah, I know. I remember my homies used to family. My homies used to go down south for vacation and come back be like, "Yo, they still got outhouses down there." Blah blah
Right.
blah. Chicken. Yeah, so I'm familiar with all of that. Yeah,
Okay.
coming back with buckets of chitlins and all of that.
Yup. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you
Yeah, I
black
remember
black.
that.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So what I'm saying though is, of course, looking across the fence, you're going to see that the resources created from your labor, from your own exploitation, is something that you're going to want a part of. I don't think they did it because they wanted to be next to white folks. They did it because they wanted access to those same resources. And the thing is, when we
But
talk
but but
when
but
we talk
so
about
so when they say
accountability,
so
and we
when they
talk of
say when they
when we
say the Jewish dollar stays in their community 50 times before it leaves, or it stays in this community 100 times before it leaves, like what does that mean? From what I see and from what I understand, they're using each other's resources.
do you
This man
think
makes
do you
shoes.
think
I'm
do
going to
you
buy
think
shoes. I'm going to buy it over here. This man build houses. I want house. So what I'm saying is, why wasn't that was already working for us? From my understanding, that's how certain parts of Atlanta. That's how Atlanta got made. That's how the joint that they always talking about, green whatever that joint is that they dropped the bomb on, that everybody always talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like they was keeping the dollar within their own
and what
community.
happened to it?
Yeah, I understand that. I
All right.
understand that.
I understand. I know, but I'm trying to listen, man. I'm trying to explain it to you. Do you think we go through 1/10 of what the Jews go through?
Say
I
that
mean,
again.
I'm sorry, the other way around. Do you think the Jews go through 1/10 of what we go through?
No, no, not at all. But all right, bro. Listen, man.
But
Listen, right?
no, but this is where I'm
Listen,
saying
listen,
Claude.
listen.
No, but hold on, brother, because you're speaking
Mhm.
exactly to where Claude Anderson is wrong. This is speaks exactly to it. We don't have an economic power base outside of our oppressor's territory. You can't be a prisoner of war and build a thriving economy with your oppressor. Can you go to prison and live good
Catch your
without?
question, bro.
Hold on. Can you go to
Mhm.
prison? Can you go to prison and live good without having some guards on your side? Without having the prison warden understanding what's going on and giving you
Yeah,
some extra wiggle room?
yeah, yeah. You could, if you ever been to prison, you would know that. It's a difference
You
between the inmate. It's a difference
there-
between the inmate and a convict. Convicts don't deal with the guards. They don't deal with the nothing named nothing called officer, police, staff, nothing, nothing. They don't do that.
so
They
you
don't do that.
telling me? So I've never been to prison, so I can't speak too much on
Exactly.
it. But what I'm
Exactly.
saying, what I'm saying is, I'm still a black man, bro. I still know people that's been to prison.
You
I'm just
piss me
I'm
off. You come
I
on here
can't.
every day doing this shit, bro. Go get a
Weirdo.
job, bro. Weird ass nigga.
That defense of the white woman come out of them quick, don't it? When they start talking, they start using derogatory terms towards other black people in defense of white women. I don't know. That's weird to me, bro. But anyway, what I'm saying is, when someone is thriving in a system built for them to destroy themselves, that means that at some level the system has allowed it. So you're telling me that in a competing economy, for example, the drug trade in Colombia was a competing economy during the 80s. They said that Yocaine had become traded more than the US dollar and was actually becoming a faster, more profitable currency than the US dollar in the 80s. And then what do we get? The war on drugs. Why do we get that? Because it was like a hole in white folks' pocket, just leaking money to non-white countries, to countries down in South America. They were just getting money and money. Pablo Escobar had so many stash spots that they still don't believe they found all of them today. So what I'm saying is, when we're talking about why didn't we have this? We got personal responsibility. We got personal accountability. I could have an umbrella in the rain. I could wear a raincoat in the rain, but that ain't gonna stop it from raining. And when I have my umbrella, I can't look around and say, "Why are y'all wet?"
bro.
Like
All I'm
personal
saying is this.
responsibility is not going to change systemic oppression.
I hear what you're saying, right? All I'm saying is this, right? I grew up in the New Jersey, New York tri-state area. I personally watched gentrification happen many times in many different neighborhoods. And all I'm saying is those was black neighborhoods. I'm watching neighborhoods now getting gentrified where Jamaicans had whole communities on lock. Now these other people are moving in and they complaining about this kind of noise, that kind of noise when so it's like it's basically it's us, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like we let these commercials. I don't know what it is. For my opinion, we just lack education, bro. We lack education and we lack the motivation to go get the education. It was when
So
growing
so
up,
you so your
I know.
your
Hold on, let me
thesis
just say
is
this. Let me
hold on.
just say
Somebody got to
this.
stay muted. Uncle Julian, please stay muted. Go ahead.
Let me just say this. I'm growing
So we
up, right?
stupid and
I
lazy.
knew,
That's what you're saying. We need
huh?
education and we don't got drive.
That's what it is. Because
That's another way of saying we're stupid and lazy.
that's not another way of saying we're stupid and lazy.
We
If you
need
don't have
education
that's
and we lack
that's
drive,
that's not
right?
that's not another way. That's what you want to say.
We
We
need Do stupid people need education?
huh?
When someone is stupid, do they need education?
No, it just means you ignorant.
We're
Ignorance,
ignorant and
ignorance,
lazy. We're
ignorance,
ignorant and
ignorance,
lazy. That's what you're saying.
ignorance just means ignorance means you don't know. And when you get educated, you erase the ignorance, right?
And
So
so what are these educated black people
if you
supposed to
don't
do?
know if you don't know how the amount if you don't understand that these bunch of dudes standing on the corner is bringing the property value down, making you pay less taxes. The less taxes you pay, the less money go into your school system. The more y'all gotta dog. I remember being in the third grade, fourth grade, getting social study books, science books, and it was swastikas in them books. That's why I first learned. I first saw the anarchy sign. I didn't understand it until I got older. Like, oh snap, we was getting day books. We was getting day hand-me-downs. That's when I started figuring it out when I got older, right? And it's because our parents didn't do what they were supposed to do, and the generation before them didn't do what they were supposed to do. We were supposed to tell them dudes, get the hell off the corner, stop doing that, have community watch, call the police on them, so our taxes, the houses will be worth more, the taxes will go up, more money will come into the area, better schools, bro. Just them same books that I'm telling you about with the swastika anarchy signs and this, that, and the third. You know how many college graduates, HBCUs I know that I grew up with that like I know one of my neighbors, she's a mathematician. Look what we did with that little bit. Imagine if we put together and really had the
Nah,
resources.
you ain't
Do what
listening.
we did.
You hearing me, but you ain't listening. You ain't listening because I'm gonna put it in a different way. If your neighbor stole your car and you know you didn't have a heater to go knock on their door and demand your car back, what would you do?
Say that again.
If your neighbor stole your car
Mm-hmm.
and parked it outside right in front of your house, you know they got your car. It's parked right next door. And you didn't have no way to get your car back. And you went and let's say you knock on the door.
First of all, I would check myself. I would check myself because I shouldn't have the kind of neighbor that would want to steal from me, right? Not that I would take responsibility for them stealing from me, but I should have the kind of neighbors where me and them is good like that. We live neighborly. They supposed to let me know when somebody else trying to steal my car. You know what I'm saying? And if they not the type of
Your neighbor
neighbors, if they not the
but
type
now
of neighbors, I'm getting away
you
from
taking
them.
us out the metaphor, man. Because now because we didn't choose these neighbors. But what I'm trying to say is, if you don't have the power to demand your car back, all you doing is asking. The reason desegregation happened is not because black people wanted it to happen. It happened because white people wanted it to happen.
I
Black
know that.
people. All right. So this is what I'm trying to say. When you talk about personal responsibility in the group, you lose me because the group doesn't have the power to enact their will and what's in their best interest
Bro,
on their own environment.
bro,
When
listen.
you talking about gentrification, bro, I'll let you talk,
Mm-hmm.
but you're lacking an understanding of systemic racism and how it operates. I understand that just because we experience racism, black folks think they understand it. Just because you have the common cold, don't mean you understand biology and medicine. So I'm trying to give you some game from the scholars. So what I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, anything that has happened to black people in this country is not. We fought for it. We fought and helped convince the white population to let us have certain things because of our actions, because of our resistance. We made them uncomfortable enough that they thought the best route to take would be to give us a negotiated version of what we want. But at the same time, everything we've had in this oppression that has been a concession of this oppression, because I still don't believe that anyone in oppression is going to thrive without knowledge of, without the permission of those that put them in oppression in the first place. I may have never been to prison, but I'm in one right now. I understand. I may not have been in the institution of prison, but I know that a black man inside is just as much of a prison, well, a little bit more of an institutional prison, but they're still in the same systemic prison as the man on the outside. And what I'm trying to say is, because of that system, we as black people, the reason I'm able to talk to you on this phone right now is because a white man has allowed it. The reason we are not shackled in chains together on a plantation picking cotton right now is because a white man has allowed it.
So we might as well give up then.
Because
We
we're
should we shouldn't fight then.
the
We shouldn't
reason we
fight then. We shouldn't do nothing.
the reason we're able to drive our car around after it was stolen is because we knocked on our neighbor's door, we sat on their front porch and demanded it back. But we didn't. It wasn't a demand. We asked. We begged for it back.
Can I tell you something? Can I go off on a little small go left field real quick? I just wanted to tell you a little story, right? Right? I met this Caucasian guy, right? He was an officer, right? I ain't gonna say what kind of officer he was, but he was an officer. But prior to being an officer, he was a security guard in a gated community, right? And doing that, he used to have to get up every morning at 4 o'clock. This is his personal story telling me, right? He telling me how he hated Oprah because Oprah, he was a private security guard. He was a security guard in a private community, the gated community, and Oprah lived in that gated community, right? And he said even though it was a gated community, Oprah wanted him to be at her door every morning at 4:30 when she get up. When she walking out the door, he wanted her to be there. She wanted him to be there. And he thought it was redundant because he like, yo, it's a gated community, right? I say all this to say this, right? Had I not met that man, right? Had I not met that man, because this is just some one-off stuff. It's nothing special. It's nothing spectacular about that story. It just gives me a little bit of perspective, right? So when I'm on YouTube or when I'm over here and people talking that illumin something naughty type of people and them just like how you saying it now, if they don't do this, if they don't do that, like I don't bind to that because I'm wondering where was those people when Oprah was getting on this dude's nerve at 4 o'clock in the morning when she was being consistent and putting in that work and getting.
You got to drop out of Panther Paws. I wanted to hear him out. Big up to Sister Stella. I wanted to hear him out. I wanted to try to get through more to that brother because I feel like his heart is in the right place. Excuse me. I feel like his heart was in the right place. But the thing is, black people, two things that black people are uncomfortable with And that is the fact that we are scared of white people. And the second thing is that we don't have control and power in a system that oppresses us. We don't have the same amount of control and power that we want to have. And it bothers us and it deludes us because we want to feel like we have power. The reason the black man perpetuates misogyny in the black community is because he feels powerless. He understands this powerlessness. And so you feel more powerful when you do something to a black woman. We understand this when we have arguments with the Boondocks used to call N-word moments. You say you have an N-word moment. An N-word moment is when two black people are in an argument and one person is trying to assert their dominance over the other one. A lot of the times, that's all black people argue about if you pay attention. Someone is trying to assert their dominance over the other person because we understand that we have powerlessness in this system. Until black people knock on their neighbor's door with a raka raka underneath they t-shirt like they about to do something, then the things that we have are those that the oppressor has allowed. And the only time we'll have that pow pow in order to be able to get what we need to keep our women safe, to keep our children and our future generations safe and growing, to protect ourselves as black men. The only time we'll have that is when Africa is our economic power base, when Africa is our military power base, when Africa is our educational power base, when Africa is it goes on and on, when Africa is the source of our labor, when Africa is the source of our dollar, when Africa has their own, you see, now we have what the Jews have. Now we put sanctions on America when they don't act right. That is when we have the power. Until then, everything else is a Band-Aid, and we're sitting here trying to find better ways to blame ourselves that the oppressor won't allow us to have certain things during our oppression. So that's just two things that we are afraid to admit, is that we are afraid of white people. Any black person that says they are not afraid of white people, black people, leave that person alone. Any black person that say they're not afraid need to go somewhere else. That is not an intelligent person. That's a person that does not acknowledge the history we have had with these people. I'm afraid of anything that's been as hostile as them. Some of y'all is afraid of the devil that you've never seen in person, but you're not afraid of the devil that you see on TV every day. Y'all afraid if I give y'all a piece of African art, y'all are scared to bring that in your house because that's the devil. But then some of y'all swiping right on the devil on Tinder. I'm afraid of the devil. I stay away from the devil. I don't got nothing to do with the devil. All right, we got another guest up here. Uncle Julian, go ahead. Give us your age, race, and pronouns.
31. He, him. Sorry, what was the other thing you said? Age, what, and pronouns?
Age, race.
Oh, I'm black.
And
Black man.
your age, are you over 18?
I'm 31 years old.
All right, talk to us.
So to answer the question, which I didn't catch a lot of the preface to this conversation, but I just tapped in because of the initial question. Are interracial marriages between black and white people ethical? And I don't believe that this is a question of ethics. Now, let me state
This is a question of ethics. This is a question of ethics. I mean, you could take it somewhere else if you want to, but this question is about ethics.
Well, for me, ethics is about right and wrong. It's about morality.
Ethics is about avoiding harm to people or the environment.
Right. So, avoiding harm to people. That's essentially what I would say. Morality. That's right and wrong. You know, is it ethical to just run a red light because you're in a rush? No, because you might kill somebody. So doing that kind of thing is unethical. Say again.
TikTok language. Unalive somebody, please. I'm already kind of flagged already.
Brother Legend.
I didn't even know that was a thing. My bad.
What
I'm saying, like, that's a question of ethics. So
real quick, then let me also warn you about essay. Do you know what essay means?
Yes.
All right. So we say grape. instead of.
Okay, got
All
you.
right.
Brother Legend.
Just a minute.
The reason I don't think that this is unethical is because there's no intention behind the pain that is caused through interracial marriage. Now, when I describe the pain that's caused by interracial marriage, I'm referring specifically to pretty much every friend I have who is a child of interracial marriage has at one point or another throughout their life detailed to me some story or experience they had of their usually white mother traumatizing them in some way, not knowing how to do their hair, saying something low-key racist without realizing it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Or their mother's family was unaccepting of them.
What about normalizing racism in their face so that they grow up and have a normalized idea of anti-blackness where they can't even see it in real life for themselves? When someone is being anti-black because their mother used to talk like that, they never learned that was
all of that. So I hear these stories ad nauseum from people who are of mixed race. And what I come to realize is that, like Jane Elliott said, all white people are racist because they're indoctrinated under white supremacy to be racist. They're ignorant. And so having children when you're white and you have black children, mixed race children, and you yourself are racist, you are inevitably going to traumatize these children in one way or another. I've seen it. It's basically an unarguable fact to me at this point. But I don't think that that's unethical because it's not done on purpose. It's not me running a red light and saying, I don't care if I unalive anybody. I got to get where I got to go.
Hold on. So you're saying unethical. So you're saying.
Let me just say, honestly, I am completely uninterested in white women. White women are completely off the table for me. I'm not interested in that.
Why is that?
Because I believe the root word of relationship is relate, and I can't relate to white people at all. So I'm not interested in relationships with white people.
Why can't you relate?
Because they're white and I'm black, and we've had a drastically different lived experience under white supremacy.
Was it just different?
It wasn't just different. It was entirely different.
Okay. Was one more harmful than the other experience? Was one experience malicious with intent, or was it just a different experience? It's
nuanced. It's nuanced. I mean,
was it intentional? Is my question.
What I think that we suffer and I suffered as black people under white supremacy. There are white people all throughout history. We all read about Manifest Destiny. We all read about the origins of the transatlantic slave trade. We all are aware of the extent to which racism was intentional. But I think that there's also possibly even the majority of racism now is just plain ignorance.
Majority of racism now is plain. When was it not ignorance?
Well, it was always ignorance, but I think that the difference between somebody calling me an N-word to my face versus a microaggression is one is ignorance and one is just blatant intentional racism. So one is immoral and one is just a consequence of ignorance, if you know what I'm saying.
So if you're
one is done with intent to harm me, and one is done ignorantly. It harms me, but it's not intentional. You feel what I'm saying?
So imagine if we thought like this on the battlefield, and there was the red soldiers with red uniforms versus the soldiers with blue uniforms on. And every time a soldier with a red uniform shot a blue soldier, the blue soldier said, I don't blame them because they're just following, the what they've been taught. They don't know any better. Like, does that...
When you pull a trigger to unalive somebody, that's done intentionally. And if you're doing it because you believe that they're racially inferior to you, then that's unethical. That's immoral.
So
and that's intentional.
you think a white person saying the N word to your face doesn't do that intentionally? Like they don't.
No, that was the intentional example. The unintentional I described was maybe like a microaggression, like the ignorance of, one time I had a coworker, when I had locks, ask me if when I wash my hair, does it unravel and I have to like knot it up again. And I just looked at him like, bro, are you crazy? But I realized that he was just dumb. He wasn't intentional. He didn't even realize the racism in what he was saying.
Why does stupidity come with racism? Why doesn't stupidity come with innocence? Why does ignorance not start out as innocence? Why does ignorance start out with the same anti-black tropes that the ones that are intentional believe?
I'm not fully following your question.
Do you believe racism is innate?
No, racism is the opposite of innate, and racism is pure ignorance.
No, I didn't say intelligent. The opposite of ignorance is intelligence. I'm saying, do you believe racism is born in the mind as a child, as a baby, it's born in the mind?
No. Racism is a consequence of
conditioning.
Fear. Yeah, conditioning.
No, but see, that's what I'm saying. You're saying racism is innate when you tie racism to an emotion like fear that is natural. Fear is natural. Are you saying racism is natural?
Well, I mean, we have to define natural. I mean, technically, anything that exists in the natural world, that exists in our reality, is natural if it's occurring in that sense, right?
Do you know what innate means? I think you might need to look this word up. Innate is something that comes from your mind. Do you believe racism, the hierarchy built to oppress and exploit black people for their labor, land, and just their bodies? Do you believe that this is something that comes from the minds of childs that have never even spoke their first word?
No. Racism is a tool that is devised
right
from a mind that's way beyond the mind of a child.
Ignorance is a lack of knowledge.
Agreed.
So when you say that someone lacks knowledge and they still repeat and regurgitate the same anti-black sentiments as someone that has been embracive of racism and embraces it and acts on its behalf, then why is it that this ignorant person is knowledgeable of something that needs to be taught? Do you understand what I'm saying?
It's monkey see, monkey do. People are taught to do things and they act out those behaviors and perform them without even understanding them or realizing that they were taught. They don't even question it.
Right.
They learn what's normal and they learn what's acceptable, and much of our behavior in society is just repeated. It's learned and repeated. We watch and it's monkey see, monkey do. Many people who are racist and perform the microaggressions like I was describing and don't realize that they're racist, they're just acting out of pure ignorance.
But
so I don't believe
they're
that
not acting out.
It's a deep. Are you saying that it's a deep internal intention to harm me?
If they were ignorant, then they would look at you and say, "Oh, there's a person." Da 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 da. When they look at you and say you're a black person, they're not ignorant no more. They have been taught. They have the knowledge of race. So I'm saying, even if you're saying they are unconscious or subconsciously racist, and they're not consciously, intentionally malicious, they still are. I can't blame ignorance because they have knowledge of race enough to know to be ignorant in the first. To know to be bigoted in the first place, whether it's micro or macro. So what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, even if the intention was not theirs for them to be racist, The environment was intentionally crafted to teach those that are unconscious of, you know,
I would
of
agree with that.
biases.
The environment was intentionally crafted
Right.
to
So
control people's minds and have them perform racism without even realizing that it's racism. I agree with that.
exactly. So
Right. So we're on the same page.
impact over intent means that even though we can say that this person is acting on behalf of the group without the conscious, critical thinking, critical analysis of the situation,
Right.
they are still just as dangerous, if
Absolutely.
not more, than those that consciously enact, on those personal biases or biases
They're
that are
just
taught.
as dangerous, which goes back to why I said I would never, ever marry, engage in relations with, or even date. I barely have white friends at this point in my life. But what I'm saying is
I don't got none.
because
I
I
would say
see
you
the
don't have white
danger.
friends. If you
Because I
want,
see the danger. However, when it comes to the question of ethics, is this harm done intentionally
no,
on an
no, no,
individual
no,
level?
no, 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 and that's where I knew you were going. It is done intentionally, because if it was unintentional, they wouldn't have that indoctrination to begin with. It was done intentionally.
So we're
Just
talking on
just
two
because
levels. We're talking on
just
the individual level and we're talking on
and
the
right
collective
now
level.
we're talking about how you're bringing up the individual fallacy, the individualistic fallacy of racism. The idea that if someone has a pure heart, that they are not racist.
So this question you're asking about interracial marriages, are you talking, is it collectively unethical, or are the individuals two, if you were to pick two out of the group who are a black and a white who are married, are they intentionally harming humanity, or are you talking about is the collective?
If I unintentionally fall in love with a little girl and got into a relationship with her, would it be ethical? Because it was unintentional. It was subconscious.
Fall in love with a little girl by accident?
Unintentionally. I'm not saying by accident. Come on, brother. You were using very good like your vocabulary was on point. Continue to be just as precise. If a grown man
I'm
was
trying to think. I'm trying to think of how somebody falls in love with a little girl unintentionally. How does that even happen?
would it be ethical?
No, absolutely not.
I was about to say, please do not stutter answering this question, bro. Then you
But the
start to get
question threw
side eye.
me off
Then
because it's like,
Then
how do
you
you
start to get side eye.
unintentionally
Come
fall
on,
in love with a
Drake.
little girl?
Come on, Drake. Yeah, just answer the question straight up. Don't don't get weird with the question. If you start getting weird with the
I
question,
mean, the question was
that
weird,
should
but
have but that should have been an unapologetic. That should have been an
unintentionally fall in love with a little girl,
unapologetically
bro?
unethical thing to do. You should have just said that straight off the bat. Now, what I'm trying to say is intention does not change whether something is ethical or unethical. Intention don't change it.
So you're saying that intention has no relevance
If
to
Harvey
ethics whatsoever.
Weinstein had no intention to hurt the people, he just didn't know. He just thought he was doing what Donald Trump just thought you could walk up to him and grab him.
But my man, think about in the
You see
criminal
what I'm
law.
saying?
Think about in criminal law. You have people who argue in criminal law cases whether they where their actions resulted in the unaliving of somebody. You have people that argue that they were either under the influence or they were it was accidental, or it was, they take into account your intentions, your motive when they're assessing guilt.
And whose legal system are we talking about?
Oh man.
I just wanted to know, because
We're talking about pretty much every legal system in the world.
I don't see how we're bringing up a system of injustice when we're talking about injustice. Like are we going to use this?
So hold on. So hold on. When somebody harms you in your life, even if it's another black, on any level, you don't ever take intention in, like when you're trying to assess whether this person intended to harm me, whether this was unethical, whether this was an accident, like when you're assessing the moral quality or the ethical quality of somebody's actions or behavior, you don't take into account at all whether or not they did this on purpose or by accident, whether it was intentional or unintentional. Regardless, just on a general interpersonal level.
Have you ever heard the saying impact over intent?
Yes, but what does that have to do with my question?
That's
So
how
you're
I
saying
feel.
no, that you don't take into intention?
I can take intention into account as to whether or not I myself am going to get my feelings involved in what happened or if it was an honest mistake. But when we're
Okay.
talking about a system of race and we're talking about ethics, intention has no bearing here. If I unalive somebody because they stole my ice cream and I really love ice cream and that just seemed like the natural thing to do next, no one is going to say what I did was ethical just because I, didn't have ill intentions, or I didn't know that some ignorance of the law, like I just didn't know. Like what you did was unethical, and although it was unintentional, it was still an unethical act. What makes something unethical is the power dynamic between black and white people. I'm talking about people as groups. If you want to talk about people as individuals, I still say that white individuals act on behalf of their group, whether it's conscious or subconscious. They do it on purpose, or they do it unintentionally, but they perpetuate racism because someone that was intentional taught them to look at things naturally as through a racist lens. So at the end of the day, no matter what we're talking about, as long as the power dynamic exists between black and white people, I don't see how we can even say that this is ethical. And I find it funny how so many of us would rather come up here and argue that
Well,
interracial
hold on. I didn't
relationships.
necessarily say that
I didn't. I'm.
interracial marriage was ethical. Like I don't even
All right,
necessarily
now you on
support
the
it.
fence.
I straight up said I don't really support it. To be
I know
honest, I
you said
don't.
you don't support it, but what I'm saying is you giving more room than you letting off right now. You giving room. I'm saying it's straight up unethical until black people are treated right. Until the black woman is treated right, the black man don't got no business looking outside our community. Until the
I
black
see. I agree with you, but
until
it's
the
almost
black
like I
family.
just don't like the words, or I don't like the use of the word ethical. I would rather say it's
Nope,
irresponsible.
nope. As long as that power dynamic exists, it's
I would say it's
working. It's
destructive.
it's
I
work.
completely, yo, me and you
Unless
are
as long as
completely on the
that
same
power,
page.
as long as the power to take advantage of another person is in the relationship, then that is an unethical relationship, brother. That's how it is when we look at P3DO files. That's how it is when we look at Harvey Weinstein and people that have positions of power over women and get into relationships with those that are their subordinates. That's how we look at it when a sergeant gets with a corporal. That's how we look at it when a prison warden is with a prisoner. That's how we always look at it whenever there's a
Me and
power
you are
dynamic.
completely in
And we
agreements,
know
except
that the
for the
power dynamic
semantics.
exists, but to sit here and try to act like something is avoiding harm when you just admitted it does harm. I'm not talking about ethicals in terms of your Christian, Judeo-Christian morality or some tie to some Abrahamic religion that even if you don't go to church, you've been taught morality through the eyes of these religions. I'm not talking about what makes you feel bad and what makes you feel good and judging things through emotion. I'm talking about a power dynamic and the ability to take advantage makes anything else unethical. But when we talk about interracial relationships, knowing this power dynamic exists, we still find a way to label it something else. It don't make sense.
I'm completely in agreement with you. almost on everything except for the use of the word unethical specifically, because I don't believe that you're actually respecting the definition of the word. You can't separate ethics from morality, and you can't separate ethics and morality from intention. What I believe the word
Yes, you
that you're
can.
looking for as in reference to your view of interracial marriages is like unequal or unjust, and I completely agree with
All
you.
right, so unjust is moral to you. When is unjust moral?
Say that again.
When is injustice moral? Because you just said we can't separate it from morality. So now let's talk about morality, bro. When is black oppression in when is injustice moral?
Injustice is not a question of morality when the injustice that took place resulted out of ignorance or by accident. If I do something to you by accident, completely ignorant, without even knowing
But
that I
it's
did
not
something
by
to you,
accident.
and it was
But it's
unfair and it
not by
resulted in
accident.
unfair,
But it's
unjust
not
outcome
by.
for you,
Were
an
you a
unfortunate
Christian?
outcome
Were you
for
a
you.
Christian at some point? I'm feeling like you have a white Jesus complex. Were you a Christian at some point? What's going on right now?
Never. Not
I don't
once
know.
ever
I
in my
don't know.
life.
You trying to unalive for their sins right now? What is it? What is it? Because you believe in the good heart of white people that just don't know no better,
Nah, I
but to
didn't say
look
that.
at you, but you believe in the good white heart of these people that look at you as less than us, than they look at themselves.
Who looks at that?
Nah, you're mischaracterizing what I'm saying.
I don't know. It's something going on right now, bro. You keep saying you know injustice is there, but you yet gonna sit here and say that's separate from morality, or like I'm getting lost. I'm getting lost. You know.
It's very simple concept. It is completely possible to harm somebody unintentionally. That's it.
And that's still unethical.
But it goes with, like, we're going back in circles. Like ethics,
But that's
the
still
question of
unethical, and
ethics
you won't concede
requires
that. That's why we're going in circles because of you. If something is still unintentionally done, if the act was
what
causing
me and you
harm,
disagree
it's
about
still
is the definition
unethical,
of the
bro.
word ethical.
It's still unethical, even if it's unintentional.
What me and you are disagreeing about is the definition
And
of
I
the
think you
word.
need to look it up because I looked it up before I
Let me
posted
walk
it
to my
up here.
computer. Let me walk to my computer and
Yes,
look up
yes,
ethical right now.
yes, yes. Go look it up and then come back up here. It says things that relate to avoiding harm done to people or the environment. All right. I got another guest, man. I've just been listen, y'all. I've been up here laboring. And I try to reset so I don't put that energy onto the next person.
Why do I think that I'm entitled? And anybody could date who they
I'm
want to
sorry.
date,
Are you
okay?
are you are you a white person?
I'm mixed. I'm Puerto Rican.
Oh, okay, yeah, go. All right. Anybody that don't know their race, please don't come up here. Oh my goodness. Whew. How you gonna come off mute, right? How you gonna come off mute and say, "How do I think I'm entitled?" How you gonna come off of mute and say, "How do I think I'm entitled?" You think you entitled to speak right now? You think I'm gonna sit here and let you talk to me how you want to talk on my live? You entitled, yes. You absolutely feel like you're entitled. That's entitlement, is it not? Am I tripping? All right. We're gonna go to the next guest. Don't forget to keep tapping like y'all. We gotta get the likes up, man. We gotta get the likes up to 75K at least. All right. The truth. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Good evening, sir. My age
Please.
is soon to be 49. My race is African American, and my pronoun, I don't know a lot about the pronoun thing, but I'm a born female,
All right. Talk
and I
to
go
us.
by as a female.
All right.
Well, as far as our interracial marriages between black and white people, ethical. I don't think it's ethical at all under no circumstances. I cannot imagine the thought of any man touching me who is not black. I'm going to always be kind to other races. I'm going to always treat them with respect, but don't touch me, is all I'm saying. I don't want them touching my body. My flesh will crawl. And I don't even speak to men who deal with women outside of their race. I just don't talk to them. I don't give them the time of day. I don't care what they're talking about. I feel
Mhm.
like it's taken away it's taken away from our community when they make babies because it's like they're no longer making pure, blackness. And I'm just a woman who's all about being pure. Nobody have to agree with me. That's perfectly fine, but I feel the way that I feel. There is no good thing within that. Even if you do have a marriage that is between a black and a white, there's always going to be somebody around who has ill feelings. Now, I'm reading this book and I'm going to land my plane. I'm reading this book. It's called Belle by Paula Byrne, and it's specifically about slavery in the 17th century. And the things that this book tells me that went on is just completely and totally unethical. One of the sentences in the book says that during that time the black woman was the most disrespected and the most desired. Some of their masters took the black woman in over their wives. That's
Mm.
how much they wanted the black woman. But I don't want to disrespect anybody. I don't want to show no discord towards anybody. But me personally, if you're not black, don't put your hands on me.
I heard that.
And I land my plane.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I heard that. They make my screen crawl just looking at them. I can't do it either. But you know what I'm saying? Some of these brothers, I don't know how they going downtown on these people that don't season their chicken. That's crazy. She don't wash. She don't got not one washcloth in the house, and you putting your nose down there. I don't know how y'all do it. Not one washcloth in the family. They ain't never
Well,
seen a washcloth.
let me say this. When you see majority of them, they are trying to be identical to a black woman with the hairstyles and everything that they do. They try to mimic a black woman. And I don't know why our black men think that they're more honest. I don't know why our black men think that they're more sincere, that they're more loyal, that they're more intellectual. I just don't know what's going on with our black men that they really think they're going to find better. I chose to respect the life of Emmett Till, and that's the bottom line.
I heard that. I heard that. Big up the great ancestor Emmett Till. Absolutely. Yeah, we've had too many fallen soldiers trying to participate in something that was always inherently dangerous towards black people. It's just wild to me how we can sit here and argue whether it's ethical or not when we were brought to this land against our will. Our bodies was used on these plantations, our men and women, by the way. A lot of people, we talk about how the women was SA'd and the children came out with high cheekbones, and grandma used to say you got a little native in you. But really what really happened was Massa had his way with her, you know what I'm saying? And we talk about that, but a lot of times if y'all look up the book, they were her property, and y'all will learn about different people. Look up Pata Seca, the brother who was used to breed and make 150 enslaved children.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, we're a lot of us are related to him and don't even know. Um, and so all this type of stuff went on. So we brought here against our will. Our bodies were used against our will, and then those same people, without us voting, without us coming together and saying we wanted it, without us marching and expressing that we wanted to give consent, decided for themselves to make interracial marriage legal and decided for themselves that they would allow themselves to marry those that they brought here against their will and used to use against their will. I'm trying to be TikTok friendly, you
Yes,
know.
yes, most
So it's like when
yeah.
did ethics means that there was consent at some point, right? So when did black people give consent to this? And
Never.
then if I took a woman from her house and I tied her up in my bathroom and tied her up to my shower and didn't feed her, didn't clothe her, didn't make sure she had water, and just kept her there. And then one day I come back to her and say, you know what? I love you. And that woman turned to me and said, I love you too. You would say that woman has Stockholm syndrome.
Mm,
You wouldn't say
because
if I didn't make nothing in her situation better, and she's still turning me to me and saying I love you, there's an incentive behind that. She knows that saying you love me back might mean that you get treated a little better. Yeah, I might loosen your cuffs. I might
exactly,
make sure I might give you a cupcake to make you feel a little bit nicer. And that's the
exactly. So,
reason we go into their communities in the first place.
mm-hmm. Yes,
Because we feel
indeed.
like it's a way to get around black oppression. We feel like it's a way to get a little bit of concessions.
Yes, indeed. Most definitely, we'll say what we need to say in order to get where we need to go. Like today, on my way to work, I stopped in a gas station that was owned by Indians to get some gas. And about seven little boys, I'm on the west side of Chicago. So about
Mm-hmm.
seven little boys walked into the gas station and walked out with everything they wanted. I'm talking about the whole, they racked up in front of these people's face and just walked out.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a lady in there who was African American, an older woman, and she just went in on them little boys. I asked her, why don't we own these gas stations? We're in our own community. We're not in their community. They're coming over here to us.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we have that? You know what I'm saying? So there's a problem. There's a whole problem within this entire situation. I didn't tell not one of them boys to stop. I didn't say not one of them. I just looked at them and didn't even twist my lips
Mm-hmm.
because they
Right.
are in their own community. They're
Because
not they're not coming. Uh-huh.
when they put those businesses in the black community, and I really
Mm-hmm.
dislike it when they put them Chinese restaurants with the fried chicken, and you go in there and get
Yes.
macaroni and cheese. You go in there and get some ribs or something, and it's like this ain't their culture. They just making food they know we like. They making food
Exactly.
they know we like, and
Ex-
then when they spend their money, do they spend it when they get the money from us at these gas stations at these businesses? Do they spend that money at black businesses? Do they come back to our community with that money, or do they take it
No.
to their community and spend it with the white man? You know what I'm
There's
saying?
not a chance. There
It's
is
it's
not a
it's
chance they will
right.
put anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Host.
it's just not a chance. I'm talking about it was
Uh,
about seven little boys walked right into the gas station. And to be exact, on Laramie. On Laramie and Jackson on the west side. And I did not say not one word. Y'all take whatever y'all want up out of here. Y'all at home. Y'all in
Mm-hmm.
your community. You're not in their community. Let them go sell what they need to sell in their own community.
Mm-hmm.
So since leadership, are placing them here, what else are we supposed to do?
Mm-hmm. I heard that.
So that's just the bottom line. I'm all black. I'm all black all the way around the board. I shop black. I spend my money black. My husband
Mm-hmm.
is black. Everything. My children are pure black. I love my black people. And that is the bottom line. But let me get back in here because I got to process y'all
All
mail.
right. All right. Appreciate you, sister.
Take care.
All right. One love.
Brother Legend, can I make an
Yeah,
announcement?
go ahead, sister Nat. You came up here earlier. What's going on?
Okay, I am in
Mm.
North Carolina, and before people start saying negative stuff, I ain't trying to sell nothing. I could have went and donated this stuff to uh, charity, and they put it back on the market and sold it to you. I'm not doing that. I'm trying to give back to my community. I got 4,600 pounds of hamburger patties on the back of my reefer trailer that I'm trying to give away. If anybody is in this area in North Carolina and needs some hamburger patties, please come and get this off the back of my trailer.
What part of North Carolina you in? I'm in North Carolina.
Okay, it's exit 106 off of I-95.
Off of
And it's,
I-95?
yes, and it's Kenly in North Carolina. I am at the Petro truck stop. Inbox
Oh, that's
me.
a lot of hamburger. Where'd you get it?
I drive trucks. I run reefer trailers. I
So
picked it
you
up
up there
from
in
the
Kentley?
slaughterhouse.
That's cool.
You
Yes,
up
and
there?
I don't want to give it to a Red Cross. I want to give it to the community.
I'm about to make me some money. Hell yeah.
So
I'll come
if
get that.
anybody is in this area
to do
or
the
you know
same thing.
someone who is in Raleigh, Wilson, Kenley, who can come and get it, it's 50 hamburger patties. And this is per hamburger. Ain't no lean meat on it. I've been giving it away all day. I got over 20 well, it was 2,000 boxes, and I still got 1,500 boxes of hamburger patties, 50 to a box. Come get it. Feed your family. Sell it. I don't care. Pay your rent with it. I just need it off this trailer so I can pick my load up in the morning.
Hey, I sent you my number.
Okay, inbox me your number.
And just send me the location, and I'll see if I can get up there tomorrow.
I'm gonna call out the address. I need you to come and get it tonight. I
Not
got a
even
load I
tonight.
need to pick up
Oh, I can't
in
get
the
up there
morning
tonight.
at 9
Damn.
But
o'clock.
text somebody else, Koyame. I'm not sure how you say your name, but text somebody else you know might be in the area. Anybody in North Carolina, you hear?
The
Yeah, I'm gonna
address
let
that
some
I'm
people know.
Yeah, let
the
us know what
address that I'm
happened.
parked at is at 923 Johnston Parkway, Kenly, North Carolina. Zip code is 32542. I am at the Petro truck stop. If you're gonna come and get it, I don't care. Bring a pickup truck. You can bring a pickup truck and fill the back of your truck up with as much as you want. I don't need nothing from you.
Damn,
All
I'm mad
I
I ain't
want you
it.
to do is get this meat out the back of my truck.
All right,
Feed your
man.
family. Feed
Fella,
somebody else's family. Don't take it to the nursing home. I don't care. I can't do it with an 18-wheeler. But I can give it out to the community and y'all can do what y'all need to do. And that's my announcement. Thank you so much for letting me on your live.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll see what I can do. I can help.
All right.
All I'm saying is that I am jealous as hell
Hey
right
man, I'm
now
saying,
because I am not in the vicinity. If I was, there would have been at least 5 of those boxes going right into the back of something.
I'm gonna
Shit, I would.
airdrop it to you, bro. I
Oh,
don't know.
please, listen. At this point, I will take a drone strike. Just send it.
Let's go.
Try not to get hit too hard with the box, but just throw it from a distance.
Yeah. Hey, what happened to the? Hey, so are we still talking about interracial marriage? I got something to say about that. Though. I'd love to chime in on it.
Yeah, but just give you a second. I think Brother Legend has to come back. Hold on, let's see.
Oh.
Yeah, I am Rose. Don't. I am
Yeah.
from around the way. I'm leaving with something. I don't care what y'all say. I'm leaving with something. Like,
If I had known about
also
this
part of the reason
earlier.
why I stopped working in corporate, because them supply offices. Now listen, I'm just saying. They had some extra pens, some extra highlighters, some extra notepads. I mean, where'd y'all think I get all them extra office supply? Never mind, let me stop. But yes, from around the way.
Oh man. Oh, he must have just paused. Yeah, he paused it.
Yeah. You have to give it a second for him to come back, because I think there may be. Well, I guess maybe while he's paused, maybe I can. Hey, how's it going, American Podcast? How you doing, brother? Living lavish out here in these out here in these streets. Hey, nice. Congratulations.
People ahead of me. Oh, Christ. How do all these people get on here?
Okay, cool.
Ooh. Okay.
Bro, it look like you still in the car in the vehicle. You just getting off work. Oh, I miss California, man. Oh, smash burgers, bro. That's why I went nuts, bro. I ate like 3 of them damn things. Like I never had one, and like I was over there for training for my career, and I just happened to step in. I smelled it first, and man, I got one of them burgers with a little bit of bacon up on that thing. But that thing knocked me out. I was gone. Then I had to come back and get another, and I had one for breakfast.
Mm. When y'all get through, let me say something right quick, and I'll let y'all get back.
Go ahead, Miss Lane.
Okay. My name's Elaine. I'm in Texas right now, what they call DFW area. I'm an African American. Mother is Tanzanian. Father's East Texan. And I think you covered a lot of what's really right on point, but I probably missed out on you covering this part. There's a big part of this that's strictly psychological, strictly mind melt brainwashing junk. White people have always been like that. They've always been ahead of us on that. There was only one time where they weren't, and that was right after slavery during Reconstruction. When thousands of people chose to go back to the motherland rather than stay in this hellhole. Okay, but as time went on, they came up with sharecropping, which I'm in my 70s, which my father went through and his family and had to sneak away to get free. And this was well after slavery, you know. And, from there it just got worse. And black people, just like now, are way behind, even when it comes to just common stuff. This don't have nothing to do with this, but, like CDC tells you to stockpile food and stuff. Most black people ain't interested in survival. They ain't interested in doing that. They think massa gonna take care of them the rest of their life. And as far as men, they think women, a lot of them think they can be free when they men ain't free, and that's impossible. And that's something that our ancestors knew long ago. But they watch TV. We let our kids watch TV. We don't try and educate them. I was around during the Panthers, and there's no reason why these young people now should have forgot what they were taught, and forgot who they should be with, who was going to, maybe take a bullet for them if they had to, who was going to watch their back, and vice versa. Men, it can work either way, because when you get down to it, a lot of this love stuff, it's really lust. And like a white guy might really lust his black woman, that he's married to and all, but he distrusts and he comes close to actually hating black men. And it goes the opposite way with white women. Most white women turn green and gray and all sorts of colors if their black man even speaks to a sister. So you see, it goes deeper than what a lot of people see. And again, we don't teach our young people nothing. We let them get involved in rap, which was an agenda in itself. I remember the time when a black woman would fight and her whole family would be out there in the streets if you called her a bitch. They made these Uncle Tom Negroes made our children, our women, our young girls love to be called, and what? They love it. They accept it. That was an agenda. They went out and picked the dirt off the street, brought them back, made them rich, and then, made them do whatever they wanted to do. And that was to help melt the mind of our youth. But these, they made it good to be integrated. Every time you turn on your television, they got a white man, a black woman, a white man, a whole lot of mulatto kids. I'm so sick of that, I think I'll puke next time. It's bad. And you let your kids watch it. You don't explain what's going on. You don't tell them nothing. Just like they teach you how to like gays. Oh, that's all right. There's something wrong with a man who's had shots wanting to go in the bathroom with little girls and women. But they do. They fought for that. Thank goodness they didn't get it. Then there'd be a lot of dead folks. But, you gotta start with your kids. And our women ain't doing their job. Neither are the men, for that matter, because a woman don't always have to do that. She needs a man to back her up. But it's not happening. We got people telling them, I'm not black. Slavery didn't happen. And I'm an Indian. What the hell? Really. We're used to saying, yeah, so-and-so is mixed, with Indian and blah, blah, and so forth and so on. But coming from this country, coming from origin from this soil. Oh, and Egypt is in America. It's not in Africa. What is wrong with these people? And they're all over social media. Your kids surf through there. Some might be interested. They put all this stuff out here, and nobody's told them that what they read in books about everybody being the same and all this junk, and about whatever Calloway got wrote up there, dang Calloway, don't have to be true, because there's a lot of lies in books too. But nobody tells the kids. They just think anything in a book is real. This must have been research. Not. They actually got books telling you that Egypt is in America. And then it's not good enough that these people are Indians or whatever, indigenous or whatever. That's not enough. They want to say we're all indigenous too. We're all Indians too. And it's not just them. Hebrew Israelites say we're all Jews. Why does everybody have to put us, every black person they see, in a little Easter basket? I hate to rant.
Hey, you ain't said nothing but a word.
It just
You know
builds
why?
up.
You know why? Because
Wait, hold on. Let me give Mother her flowers, man. You definitely spoke a word, Auntie. That was straight from the book of our elders. You know what I'm saying? That's word of mouth right there. It don't get no better than knowledge and experience coming from one of our own elders. And
But
I
they
can't
try and
imagine.
tell us the elders told them they were Indians. I said, didn't
Man,
you never listened to
man,
the tapes they got of black people after slavery? They had
she
tapes.
can.
Ha ha.
I want grandma to keep. I want her to keep talking. That's wisdom right there.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but brother, I'm probably sure you heard about those. They actually made tapes of people that survived slavery.
Yeah,
I've seen some. I've seen some of them. Yeah.
And didn't nobody say I'm an Indian? Not
Hell
one.
no. I mean, no. Nah.
Now, I'm sure there's some mix, but a purebred person that looked like me or you, I don't think so. What happened? What happened to the hair? Really. But they all come up with this. Today, it's so complicated. And again, it's our system. These people, the elite, so to speak, that create this shit. Because we as a people never did that shit. If we did, we'd be ahead of them right now on everything. But we don't think like that. We don't. People, do you know, and my mother's side of the family, that isn't here or, legally, that they talk about African Americans when they had the riot in France. They had an editorial that said, "We aren't African Americans. You can't do us like," as they tore down Paris. I mean, we've had, what, 11 black men lynched in, what, 4 months? I mean, in this year, nobody's saying nothing about it. You know, history's getting stripped out the schools. It originated right here in Texas. Nobody's out in the streets about it. What's happening? It's because maybe the YT folks, the men, decided, well, we'll give the black men our little sweeties, and on the other side, we'll give, keep them occupied. It ain't that far-fetched. It ain't. Because, like it or not, people like what's taboo. You know, even though they know it ain't good for them. You know? It's so... but it's amazing. You know, they not only don't know simple things that are going on or that would better them, they don't know the plans that these people have. But it's too far for them to contemplate. And like you and some of the people here, they don't give it the time of day, and they don't teach their children, and they grow up and run into these agendas like the rap junk. You know, it's cool to be a thug. You know, well, if you so thuggish, get out there and start a revolution. You know, they can't deal with that. You know, so you gotta have a white girl and a, fancy car and all this shit, and then what? Most times you don't know how to do jack anyway. Gonna get you killed anyway. You know? But you happy? You know? But why? You know? A lot of times women out here don't realize that some of you brothers are the cream of the crop. And they pass by you for a bunch of fools that ain't nothing but fools. You know? Have no value of children, have no value of home, have no value of fighting for their freedom. So, you know, it's an agenda. They're doing it too good now. We got people voting for a racist felon. How'd that happen? You know, 50 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. It not only wouldn't have happened in the system, they wouldn't have put up with it, and a dementia bunny like Biden, but they wouldn't, black people wouldn't have put up with it. Now it's like somebody put some in our water. Really? Or maybe in one of those YT girls' coochies, and that might work too. But something's gone wrong. Something has gone really wrong. And you get the feeling it's getting closer and closer to a time that we don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And ain't nobody prepared. Nobody. They gonna have a little YT girl or guy up in there. Next thing they turn around, what's that noise outside, huh? They look around, they gone. They gone. And they little black cells sitting there looking stupid. You know, shoot, they done went back home, huh? Just like, back in my time. When they had their fun and they were getting older, they went back home. We couldn't go back home. We couldn't change our color. They were already white. They'd go do what they want to do. I mean, and we're out there. Shouldn't have depended on them in the first place. Hippie my butt. But there again was that free love. Sex with white girls, sex with white guys. They always put that in there. Always. And a lot of us always fall for that shit. Always. It's really sad.
And if you stick around, you're gonna see what happened when we question it or resist it. When we talk about loving black women, you watch how these P Woods act on this live. You'll see it. They get very triggered by the thought of us coming together, black man and black woman, and prioritizing ourselves.
Yeah, how dare we?
I was on a live that I was on this live. This is this dude named Osa, and I lost it.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
I know, dude.
Sorry.
I know. Check it out. I lost it. I lost it to the point where he had to shut the whole live down. Like I went off on these people, man. he had to
Yo,
shut
what
the
that
live
fool
down.
say?
He was just, I mean, he had people on there saying, that I don't even want to get into it. Bottom line is, okay, I'll tell you what he said.
I know
Yeah,
you
you gotta
talking
say
about.
it.
Okay, good, because I don't
Cuz, you
want
gotta
to.
say it now, family.
Okay, so he said he had YT women on there saying they were
Mm-hmm.
slaves to the system, and I'm like, what system? I'm like,
Yeah.
The one
what
they helped
system are
make,
you
I
talking
guess.
about? I said, you guys fell for the okie doke 400 years ago. They told you you
Yeah.
were white. They gave you the freaking the standard operating procedure, and you believed them. You believed them.
Yeah.
And now you want us to come together and we need to stand together. No, we're done. We're done. We're done. We don't.
I got
Go ahead.
He got too much noise. Go ahead, tell us the story, y'all.
No, so
Oh,
I
my
was like,
bad. My bad.
no. I was just telling him, I was like, dude, we're done. We're done. I'm like, you guys, I said, this is what I told him. I said, white men and white women born in America have more privilege than any other white people on the planet. I'm like, do you understand that? Do you even understand the oral history or just the nature of this country? Do you understand that this is and they lost their minds. They lost their minds. I'm like, this is an anti-black country. It's an anti-black globe. I'm like, if
They
you
know
understand, yeah,
They
I'm like,
pretend, but they know.
they know. They lost their shit. They lost it, man. He literally kicked everyone off the live. And he's like, I can't believe you. And you should. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. I'm
I
here to
heard
tell
that. Go ahead, let him know.
you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm here for, man. I'm not going to sit here and let you talk. Man, how can you let these people up on your live and just tell these lies like this, dude? How can you do that?
Let me tell you, long before, when you were probably a real young man, the Panthers told people when they came to us, wondering, you get together, in case there's a John Brown running loose, you take care of yours, we'll take care of ours, and then maybe when shit hits the fan, we'll bring it together, but you will never run ours, and we don't want to run yours. And we'll take it from there. And that's the only way you can do that. That's the only way.
Yeah, that's what So I was born in '59, right? I grew up in the '60s and the '70s,
Mm-hmm.
so I got to see, so here's the thing: a lot of young black men and women who are, let's just say, 18 to 38 or 35 or whatever, they don't understand that there are people my age who grew up using separate but equal restrooms. The colored restrooms and the colored water fountains and couldn't swim in pool. That's when I grew up. I grew up when Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, when they were all unalived, when Chairman Fred and Bobby Seale, when all those dudes were because they were a threat, okay? And
How old are you?
I'm 65.
Okay.
So
Maybe I thought you'd be a little older than that.
no, I mean I remember that stuff. I remember that. I mean, I was
So do
in
I.
1968. In 1968, I was 9 years old. I remember my mom and her best friend in April of 1968 talking about I was sitting right there when Martin Luther King was unalived, and they were like, what are we?
You were sitting out there when he was shot off the.
No. I was sitting. I was sitting in a conversation when he was unalived. My mom and Sister Gibbons, because that's who she was to me. Because I went to a Pentecostal church, and we were stationed in Fort Richardson, Alaska, and they were saying they literally looked at each other and they said, "What are we going to do now?" And then
You were a smart 9-year-old. You know that?
Well, I mean, you had to be smart back then. I was the oldest of 4 boys. I was a young black child living in what I would call probably the most racist situation a black child could live in. Okay. The military had just been desegregated. My dad was in the military. He went in 52. So I'm only 9 years old. So everyone that's in my proximity is white and racist.
Well, you're pretty good, because when I was 9 years old, I didn't know too much of Jack.
Well,
So I was one up on there.
I was put in these situations, not really put in these situations, but you learned that these white children were, these white kids, these racist white children learned from their mom and dad because they were from Alabama, Kentucky, Indiana, Wisconsin, and their parents were all in the military. But this is 1968, 69, 70, and you know, they weren't having it. So I can tell you right now that the amount of fights that I got into, that my sister got into, I mean, we were bloody in noses like every week. We had
living on a military base?
Yes.
I was living on a military base when I was small too, but it wasn't like that. You suffered a whole lot worse than I did.
I mean, when people tell
years old, I didn't, and it was a different type of thing. And really, I'm sort of glad I was able to go to the schools I went to. I can see where you're coming from. Are you a mixed child?
No.
Nah, that man ain't mixed, man.
No, I'm not mixed. I'm not now. I'm not even close to being mixed.
Oh, okay.
No. This is what happens in America, okay? When you're born in America, let's just say like myself, someone like me, you grow up in an extremely white environment, right? And you learn who and what, when. You learn the who, what, when, where, and why of white people. That's what you learn. You understand it. And then all of a sudden, it's like any other black child, there's a certain amount of anti-blackness that you have about yourself because you don't know any better. You don't have social media. You don't have any of the situation. You don't, your parents are off working. It took me until I was about, like I said, about 8 or 9 years old when I realized that these people don't like me. They don't like me. And if I don't stand up for myself, they're going to hurt me. Okay? That's what I learned. I was like 8 or 9 years old. I had to fight my way to school and from school. And then move it forward in the Marine Corps after college. And college was a messed up situation too. Dude. I mean, maybe I was fortunate enough to see all this stuff just like in my face. Because it really
see it sooner or later.
Yeah, but I saw it early. I saw it early. My brother. I'm one of 5 kids. You know what I mean?
You were in a pretty bad place too if you were living in on a base like that. Too.
Well, I mean, it was just it's the way the universe works, man. The 3 people that lived in our row of homes, two of those people, 2 of those families were. I remember this. I was walking. His name's Dennis Matlock. He and I were walking down the sidewalk. His white mom ran out of that house with a belt and beat his ass into the house for hanging out with me.
Mm.
Yes. I saw a kid. I mean, the thing, man, dude, I saw a kid in a fight with the white kid in a fight with a black kid. My sister and I were coming home from school. And, back in those days, they would say, fight, and inward and a white. Fight, and inward and a white. That's what they would say, dude. That's how it went down.
Is this still on the base?
Yes. It didn't matter where you were in America back then.
I know because I was a Navy brat. I don't know if you were in the Army.
I was an Army brat. I was in an Army. But let me finish this story real quick.
Different, I don't know. But it wasn't for the Navy. In fact, it was better than away from that because it was hardcore right in the communities. It was not like on the bases for, where I was.
Yeah, see, on the base,
Army may have been different. I don't know.
The Army, my sister and I were coming back from school we went to Ursa Major Elementary School. And, we heard fight, and inward and a white. And this young black child was just taking it to this white kid. And this white kid's father was standing outside watching the fight, and the white kid started crying. And his father ran over there and grabbed him and just beat his butt into the house, dude. That's what America was back then. It still is. It still is. Except we can put it on camera now.
Yeah.
You know, we put it on camera.
Now they
I mean,
can.
yeah, you know, and I mean, you know, you have to. And these things. The thing, what I know, I have a sister-in-law. One of my nephews married. She's from Ireland, and I have another sister-in-law. She's white, and I have another sister-in-law that my brother married. And I'll tell you right now, his kids, they're. I'm just like, man, like they don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. They don't want to hear me. They just, you know, they live in Orange County, California. You know, they've gone blah blah. It's just, I'm like, all right, whatever. You know, you'll see. It's gonna break your heart, but you're gonna find out. You're gonna find out, man. You're gonna find out. I did. Everyone does. Every black man and every black woman at some point in time finds out that, you know what? You try to leave your community. You can try to join that white man's club. You can try as hard. You can try all day long. I guarantee you, it's never going to work.
It's on a different level now. It's more subterfuge, you know.
Yep.
More sneaky attacks. They make you think you're gonna, and then you don't, or they let you get up there and use you for a pawn. It's not quite as blatant as it used to be, except for the lynchings lately that nobody wants to do anything about.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, and they pay you millions of dollars sometimes if they kill somebody, and you take it like a dummy. You know, I mean, you know, that's the way I feel about it.
No, you're right.
You can't pay me for killing somebody I love. You know, I want to see you go to court. I want to see you get executed. You know, let me execute you.
No, I get it, man. I mean, I trying to help or not help, trying to help young black men and women who don't really know why they are afforded at least some of the benefits that they have. I mean, they don't. I mean, the fight was real back then, man. It was like, you know, someone's going to tell me, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bro, are you kidding me?
It wasn't real enough, darling. No, it really wasn't.
Yeah, for them.
Much realer.
Yeah. For me, it was. That's how it was. I mean, I'm telling you.
I mean, on another level. I'm not the way.
No, I couldn't even imagine. My mom she's going to be 86 in September. Mm-hmm. That was real. Like when she and I have those discussions, which are a lot these days, mm-hmm. and she tells me about East Texas, well, Louisiana and East Texas.
Yeah, my father's from East Texas.
Yep. My mom, she was born in Mansfield in the right outside of Shreveport. Actually, yeah, she's from Shreveport, but my dad's from Lafayette. They're both from Louisiana, but they grew up in Tinley Haw, Texas, which is East Texas. And yeah, back in my dad's what, 91?
Really?
Yep. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's a trip, man. My dad picked sugarcane, picked cotton. My mom picked cotton. You know.
Because they like to, or because they have? Okay, there were a lot of people that did it after all that stuff. You know, younger people that never went through it down south just for the fun of it, because it wasn't like it used to be. You know.
No, this was in the 40s. This was in the 30s and the 40s.
I'm talking about 40s and 50s because I know family members on my father's side that did that for fun. They'd never seen the sharecropping stuff. They never, you know, it was just something that part of our history that they did because they could now.
Yeah.
and get up and leave and smoke weed and do whatever they wanted to while they were doing it. You know,
Yeah.
they did it for the fun of it, though, and that did happen.
Yeah. No, my mom and dad. My mom worked on a farm, and my dad's mom was a sharecropper. And then she finally got a job at the elementary school as the cook.
Hold it. You know, what year? Really? What year was that?
Wow. So my dad he was born in 31, I think.
Uh huh.
So he was probably he was like 8 or 9 years old, like in 39, 40.
So it was in the 30s, right?
Yeah, it was in the 30s. Yeah.
You were lucky again, because my father and his sisters and, his father had to sneak off, really escape from their sharecropping plantation because they couldn't read or write. They didn't allow people to read or write even then, a lot of them. And if they'd have got caught, then the guy could have called the sheriff. Sheriff would have hunted them down. If he caught him, it would have been just like a slave deal. You were lucky again. You should be, happy about that. Because a lot of people, especially down here, it didn't work that way for. Serious.
No. I know. I have a lot of. You got to realize, man. I didn't tell you this, but I've got 8 aunts. On my mother's side, 8. Yeah, I have a huge black Southern family, and they are. I mean, they're some of the most righteous people on the planet, and that's where I'm from. That's chitlins, hog maws,
I
black
can
eyed
tell you
peas.
traveled around because you don't have much of a Southern accent, so you must have been
Oh,
got travel under your
I'm
belt.
an Army brat. Okay, so I was born in Fort Sam Houston, Texas. Sister born in Verdun, France. Brother born in Stuttgart, Germany. 2 brothers born in Fort Richardson, Alaska. And
Did
that
you
was
ever
all.
get a chance to go overseas?
Yeah, I was in France, Germany, Great Britain,
Ah, see, that's where
Alaska.
you got your accent from.
Yeah.
I love
Y'all,
Spain.
I gotta go. I appreciate y'all
Thanks for
coming up,
having us
man.
up here.
Yeah,
Yes,
I like
sir.
talking to you guys.
Elaine, you are the best.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'm glad I met you.
Thank you for that wisdom. We love hearing our elders give us a word because we trying to soak it all in so that we can pass the baton on to the next generation. That's what my platform is about. That's what.
Brother Legend, I love you, dude. You know I love
Yes,
you,
sir.
dude.
Yes, sir. Love you too.
You know I
And
love you.
that's what B1 Initiative is about. Our nonprofit organization where we're building things for our community and raising the consciousness of Americans, Africans in America, to the frequency of what's going on the continent. And yeah, thank y'all for this conversation, y'all. And don't forget to join us in our meetings. We have meetings every Sunday. Wait, someone asked, does B1 Initiative also include language studies of native languages? We ain't get there yet, but if you want to come and teach, come on. Come on. That
What
is
time are the meetings,
B1.
man? Because I'm off on Sundays.
Oh yeah. Sunday, man, you missing the good lives then, because
I know.
Do you
that's
teach
where it's
African
at.
languages too?
We're gonna translate our website. We're building an Afrocentric online encyclopedia called Sankofapedia, where it's gonna give the African perspective of world history to brothers and sisters right on their cell phone, mobile device, whatever. And we're gonna translate it to all languages on the continent. We do need indigenous speakers of African languages, though. So if you know something, poetic logic, then come on and join B1 Initiative and be a part of what we're building. But micro podcast, the meeting is Sunday at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, and 12 p.m. noon on the West Coast.
That would be me. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah, you can join, and we watch lectures. We talk. We got it's I don't know we gotta remember that the church was kind of like a community organizing center for Black people for so long. So even though I've decolonized from Abrahamic religion, the Sunday meetings do kind of like the best way I could describe it is brothers and sisters. That you know what I'm saying? Like it's not church. We ain't indoctrinated, but it feel good to be around your people, and we not joined together on some religion. We join together on what we're going to build, and not just talk. So we got a code of conduct. We have elders in there. We got brothers and sisters with doctorates and bringing their knowledge, and it's a real fun environment. So
That's cool.
yeah, if y'all want to join,
I do.
the
Yeah,
link
that'd
is
be cool.
yeah, the link is in my bio, b1initiative.org. And Unc, I can send you the link so you can just click it and join. Anybody else that want to join, the link is in my bio. I'm out. Black love, black laws for all Black people. Now, how's it go? How Khalid Muhammad said, Black laws for Black liberation for all Black people. Free the land, free Congo, free Haiti, free Sudan, free Libya, free Mother Africa, free South Africa, free us here in America, free all Black people everywhere. I'll talk to y'all later. Black power.